There's everybody.
What's up, everyone?
Welcome. Let's see who's on the comment board. Who's talking? We got 6 people, but only 2 that are talking. Midwest RC, Samagogo. I'm here to see those 40 models. Oh, you meant RCs, not lady. So, everybody meet Chad.
What is up, everybody?
DORKY&40 RC. You do a lot of FPV stuff. You did a lot of FPV drone stuff, and now you seem to be pushing pretty heavy into the go fast for a short time stuff. Right?
Exactly.
So let's just get into the questions.
What is happening, everybody?
Yeah. Can you see everybody's comments? There should be yours are coming up there, and you know where they are. They should be on the side. I never see them from your guys' aspect. I see them from the main panel aspect. So
Yeah, only thing you gotta go out of the huge view, full screen view to get to the comments on the side.
Okay. I don't know how it works with OBS. I don't know how yours is showing up for you. So
I see the comments coming up. Well, I see the private chat. I don't see the full comments. So,
okay.
And then it's on your YouTube channel. I don't see any YouTube comments coming through, so I'm not sure where most of the comments actually come on.
There's only 3 on there right now.
Okay, well then I'm getting all of them.
Okay, cool. All right, so we'll just get right into this. Do some introductions. So, as we were saying, I'm in Vernon, BC. Aaron is in Armstrong, which is like 10 minutes north of Vernon.
The cheese capital of BC.
The cheese So basically, I've got a hobby shop, make my fun hobbies and games in Vernon. And then I decided, I'm bored. Let's start a YouTube channel. Yay, let's do that. And
then he's like, hey, Aaron, you're part of the RC club. You're the president of the RC club. You want to come on?
Yeah.
I was like, sure, I got those things.
Saba, what time is it in where you are right now? Is it like 2 a.m. again, or what? He's from the UK, so he's way off our time zone. So it doesn't matter what time of the day we do it.
I've got some European and Australia subscribers and stuff, so It's pretty cool.
So. I got a hobby shop. Aaron is 1:33 a.m. Oh, that's dedication right there.
Sorry.
So Aaron is the president of the local race club. Well, the most local race club. And we have now folded everything together. If it's got to do with racing RCs, it's all under the same umbrella so that we can cover it all with the same insurance and same policies and sanctioning and all that kind of stuff, right? So we've got on-road racing, carpet racing, off-road racing, drag racing is now under that umbrella. We'll be starting into some monster truck racing. We already got rock bouncing. What else?
Pavement racing too.
Pavement racing, that's right, yeah. So we just keep on adding more racing to it.
All the racings we do,
man.
So I keep on spending money on more race cars and not really knowing exactly what I should be doing and not focusing really hard on things, right?
But that's the way you like it, though.
That's the way I like it.
Likes to dabble in everything. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Adds to his hoard. I mean collection.
My hoard. He calls it a hoard. I call it a collection.
But we have a new term. He's a curator of vintage models.
I got less vintage stuff going on now, man. Like I don't have okay, you're right. Vintage. I got some
How vintage are we talking? Are we talking like 80s Tamiya or older?
Well,
You get some old Kyoshos in there for sure. I've seen some of those in your garage.
Oh, so you're going like I see.
Yeah.
I see which way you're going.
This was my first RC, and I built this with my dad on the kitchen table in 1985.
Oh man, that's beautiful.
So this is a Marui Samurai.
Why egging them on? Don't egg them on.
It was the building it
Don't
with
get some new
dad
stuff.
part. It was the building with dad part, just because my dad was not into any of this stuff. I was an only child. I didn't have brothers to play with. It was just the neighborhood kids and stuff like that. So that's why I really never got involved in RC race. Thank goodness, or I can only imagine where I would be in life, you know. But so it it developed later on in the career. So once the paychecks start coming in and all that kind of stuff, college time, that was the least of my concerns. Wasn't the thing to do.
I was watching a live stream last night with CCXRC.
Yeah, with Tony.
And, so Tony was on there, and they were all talking about what they were into before they were into RCs, and they were all into BMX, right? And then I'm thinking to myself, Jesus, I was in BMX way back in the early 80s too, which was a little bit further back than I think they were. So
yeah, I'd have to say I was a pretty big. So obviously, I tell the big joke is I'm DORKY&40, not 40 anymore. But that was kind of like when I rebranded everything. But I think I was pretty much into video games. The 80s kid. That's kind of like where things were with me. And then during the summertime, we all played outside, football, baseball, all that stuff. So
until the streetlights came on, right?
Well, yeah. Yeah. But then
try to tell my kids the streetlights.
Yeah. But I mean, right at 16, like I pretty much started working right off the bat, bagging groceries and that kind of stuff, and really never stopped it. Never stopped it, I don't know when I'll stop. Hopefully one of these days. What do you
do as an actual career?
So I am a healthcare technology manager. So what I actually do is I'm part of a team of about 40 people for a really large healthcare system in Ohio. And we purchase, educate, integrate medical equipment into all of these wonderful healthcare systems that we have. Things for the electronic charting, things for transferring images back and forth. So and then
technologies that we'll probably see in the next 10 years here in Canada, because
you never know. The pandemic put things behind, but it also we got more done in an 18-month to 20-month period when it came to like virtual health and that kind of stuff than we had roadmapped for the next 48 to 60 months. So, and then we took even more steps beyond that because we had the virtual health model, and we're like, we could probably put more of this model into, patient homes and put it into extra rooms. So that way we were reducing the amount of PPE and the amount of exposure and keeping an eye on patients better and stuff like that. So there was a lot of that stuff that happened. So the past couple of years of my life have been extremely busy. That's for sure. Plus I'm kind of like the old guy now, since I've been in the career for 18 years. So I'm kind of in that like path where I am one of the few people that know a lot of things, so that makes it even more difficult. And made it even more difficult.
You go deal with this.
Well, you wish you could, but like you're the only one that actually knows this stuff, because we actually had a couple people retire like the year of 2019. Like December was like their last day. So two of the associates that I work with, I don't like that word, two of my friends that I work with, they've only worked during a pandemic. They don't really know what it's like normal. They just know finally what it means to like go into our cafeteria and actually sit at a table with somebody and not have this, one chair per table stuff and everything that's going on.
That is nuts.
So, we still got the masks on, but everything else is good to go.
Yeah, everything's kind
So,
of weird here.
Yeah.
We have everybody wants to argue about it and fight about it.
Yeah.
It's caused a lot of hatred and a lot of people who just are at each other. So
Yeah.
my escape, throw a battery in an RC and go do something else for a while. That's kind of cool.
Right? Well, that's man, that's like you just playing that segue, because that's pretty much what drag racing has done for me.
Right.
In January of 2020, I went and bought a stock slash because I wanted to join the local RC club and start racing with those guys, indoor stock slash class, just because I had no idea going to a racetrack or anything like that at all. Build it up. We were allowed to do a couple mods, I think, like to the Knuckles and a couple other, really weak parks. You were allowed to run LCG, that kind of stuff. So got that all done, and the next thing you know, the place was closed down. So, but literally 2 or 3 months later, like if you go back, and some of it's documented, I really didn't start taking off with the drag stuff constantly until a little bit later on that year. But that's how it all started. We had the slashes, and that's what we started running. And, the whole NPRC thing just kind of took off from there. And, listen to one of your guys' older podcasts about drag racing, that's when it was a little bit more pure than it is these days.
Yeah. So you're calling NPRC, and I've stopped calling it NPRC because I just call it drag racing now, because it has gone so far beyond the grassroots. And I just read an article, like a post about it here. Yesterday, I think it was. The guy was commenting on the NPRC page about how the rules have changed and why did they change this rule. And the guy's like, dude, it hasn't been the same as that for a year, better part of a year now. So just suck it up. And these are the rules now.
Let's come to our track.
Yeah. I mean, we have dry tire. That's right. So there's no, but, and then there's always that argument about prep, which I know you knew this was going to be asked and brought up. There's always an argument about prep and about putting glue or traction compounds onto your tires. And I personally, I just look at it with no prep as the same thing as if you were pulling up against a guy. You pull up in your vet and some guy's got a Mustang or whatever, and you pull up at the light and you want to go from light to light. Are you jumping out and throwing glue on your tires? No.
Right.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's evolved a lot, and I, admittedly, to myself and to everybody else, it's not something as easy as just throwing the prep on there. There's a process, there's a program, every surface, the temperatures. Sometimes it doesn't work. I know we've had some really crazy weather here in Ohio, 80 degrees, 50 degrees, things like that. Yeah. I've been running a lot of the Wild Action Performance, which is just a tire conditioner, so it's just breaks that rubber up and you throw some heat on it, and I make very, very great hits with it. A lot of people have that kind of stuff as well. And depending upon what kind of surface I'm on, it works better. You go to some place that isn't blown off and you're picking up rocks and you're sugar cooking, you're over.
This is all we're running up here.
I played with that a little bit last year. It's a nice, mild type of a prep, and it works really good on heat and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
although so what's your temperature range you're running in right now? Like what's your climate like out right now?
Right now, I mean, our average is probably, I would say we're finally up to about 50-degree nights and maybe about 60 to 65-degree evenings, depending upon, that's kind of like the normal, maybe down to like 45.
So we've been,
and we've been doing a lot of, it's, the seasons have changed. There's no doubt about that. So our springs are very, how could I say it? Not violent, but just, very different. A lot of wind and a lot of drastic temperature changes.
Yeah. You go from being crazy dry to all of a sudden it's just pouring rain and blowing.
Yeah. And it, like last weekend, I was it's been very difficult to do some tuning and make some changes to the car and stuff like that, because you're getting inconsistent results. Not only are we trying to find a couple different surfaces and different places to run on, we're dealing with temperature changes, and we're doing a lot of stuff at night now, that we've never done before.
Monday night, we had that problem. COVID. So COVID was a big, big benefit to us. Same thing with everybody with the RC drag racing scene and everything, because you could get out there and get going, and people were looking for something to do.
Yep.
Well, now the restrictions have been pulled, and a lot of the stuff is coming back to normal. And so we went to our normal spot that we were running all last year. We go to our normal spot, and it's full of cars, because guess what? Soccer practice is back on now.
Oh,
we're like, no way. What are we going to do? So we're in a scramble trying to find another lot. So we go to this other lot that we've always kind of kept on the back burner. It's not as good of a location. It's not a
good runoff.
So here we are running our cars, test and tune on a surface we've never been on, with a pole at the end of the runoff. It was a Dave hit that one. Dave smoked the pole. It was like, holy dude, like you needed to turn just a little bit to the left or the right, either or. The pole's only this big.
Target fixation, just go right for it.
Yeah. I'm in such data gathering mode. Like when I was waiting at Walmart the other day for my pickup for my groceries, I was doing that before COVID, because any minute of the day I can get back in my life. So whenever people were taking over all my parking spots last 2020, that was kind of rough, but now it's cool. So I knew I was going to Walmart, and I was like, that's a pretty new Walmart down there. It's pretty nice. I had the stuff in the car left over from the night before, and I literally did like 2 or 3 rips right there while I was waiting for my groceries after I got my groceries, and it worked out great.
Yeah, we'd never get away with that at the Walmart here. Well, first of all, it's got too many drainage. Like up here, they make the parking lot's got a lot of slope with a lot of drainage in it, right?
Right.
Yeah, we got a lot of snow and rain and stuff. So
yeah,
it's engineered.
Doing like an off-road drag racing series, you get some air.
Yeah. I hear people talk about that.
Yeah.
Dirt, U4 drag racing, who can get over the pile of rocks and break their $1,000 cars faster.
Yeah, we got rock bouncing. We're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And I see that you got yourself a set of the new Blue Dot Pro lines.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to walk into my hobby shop, and actually they had them, which is great. Yeah. So
have you ran the Jayco's? I'm not Jayco's, J Concepts. Because they got a compound that's belted.
I don't think I've ever ran their belted tires. I pretty much, the tire history for me has been pretty simple. Hoosiers, primes, reactions. Never overpaid for Voodoos or any of that stuff. I didn't think that was kind of like fair to like my subscribers
don't you
in
have
the community.
$1,000 Voodoos?
I have Voodoos now, but but I got it in on the pre-order. So, and I sold one pair to my buddy that I promised for $50. So I haven't been a Voodoo scalper. Nothing against anybody that's doing any of that stuff. It is what it is. I do have like 2 sets left, and I was thinking about selling a couple of them, because I did promise the wife that, hey, if you let me spend $300 on tires, I can sell a couple pairs of them and make it back. But I was thinking about donating a pair on the channel or something. I got one friend that's never ran them, and so I might just hook them up with them for retail. But I ran reactions just like pretty much everybody else without foams, which is a huge issue now because I threw all my foams away, and now we need them for our tires. So that's kind of a problem.
So that's another segue into something else.
But I haven't ran the Voodoos yet, but I have ran the Blue Dots. I like them. I think they are a step up on the reactions. Like, I would never really recommend anybody, I don't think, to buy the reactions. The Blue Dots are right next to them. But I don't think they're like head and shoulders above the regular reactions, unfortunately. So they are nicer.
Your go-to tire, let's say you're going to do a build and you just need something that you just want to get the thing on the track, get it tuned in, dialed in, and go. What's your go-to tire that you would grab off the shelf?
Right now, it's even after just one, like after 7 hits, it would be the Voodoo Reds.
Voodoo Reds.
Yeah, they're that bad. They're that much better. I mean, if you've ever actually, I never really believed in it or thought of it. I've sat right next to them. I touched them on my friends' cars and stuff and everything. But yeah, I know. But until you take a pair out of the bag and actually put them in your hands, you're like, wow, these kind of are next level because they're so soft and lightweight compared to the reaction tire. So it's just, it is what it is. And I don't, I don't even know everything there is about running them yet. And I hear that in the summertime when it gets warmer, then you will want to run the silvers then. So the golds are kind of in between, depending upon how much you want to play with foam and stuff like that. So that's kind of my plan.
Let's take a quick peek at this here. I'll show you. See if I can get this to come up right. I've never had to share with 3 people on the screen yet. So
interesting.
Right. Go there and share and give the computer a chance to think. Okay. Come here.
Yeah, going on.
Well, I got something happening. There we go. So these are the new Exotech twisters. So this is the picture of the rim with the valve stem inside it. So it really looks to me like it's basically a valve stem that would come out of a basketball or whatever, right?
Well, yeah, because it's cut, but I wonder,
There it is.
So there's the tire. Okay, now they've got, you're obviously filling it with your needle style. You're supposed to grease it and lube it up so it goes in easy. Really thin wheel. Like not a lot of spoke to them.
Yeah, I think those are more for the buggy style. They're a little bit smaller around than the short course tire, which is
no. There's a comparison here. I'll show you real quick.
Yeah, side by side. It's a little bit shorter,
they're wider. Yeah, they made them wider.
So it's just
and
like
they're
a buggy
recommending.
tire. There it is.
Yeah. So you're right. They're a little bit shorter, but they are a wider footprint. So they are belted. They recommend them to be run at between 1 and 2 pounds. Good luck figuring out 1 or 2 pounds of pressure in a tire that size or pumping it up. I happen to have a pump that will do it because I have a pump that was for the air shocks off my sled that you could actually increase each stroke was 1 pound. And if you did half of a stroke, it gave you half a pound or whatever, right?
So you don't have the little sphygmometer hookup then, huh?
Yeah, tiny little sucker, right?
Yeah, the blood pressure thing. A lot of people say the blood pressure thing. Of course, I would know that. It's really called a sphygmometer. So. But yeah, conversion, I think it's like around 35 or 36 millimeters of mercury per pound, I think.
Yeah.
So, I think you're around like 80 would be like 2 pounds. So, yeah,
the temperature.
The problem I see with these tires though is, I want to know if these it would look about the same as the wide wheels, and the wide wheels are pretty popular, but I'm actually been going back to the narrows. I'm really focused on weight right now. That's really been my focus, trying to get this car down and preserve battery voltage.
Right. Let's see. Get the shirt.
The other thing I'm concerned about these ones here, they put out this drag tire, yet it doesn't conform to any rules for no prep.
Right.
And our PC are all, it has to be that 2230 tire.
Well,
Midwest said that too, eh? Look at that.
Who knows? Yeah, who knows if that's still a rule though, because recently people were showing me the rules and I actually looked and I was kind of surprised because there had actually been some updates to the rules and it said they were done back in January and they were very, very, very specific to the tires, the batteries, and something else. And it basically got rid of some of the technical specifications and it basically come into line saying, commercially available.
There was something about wheelbase I remember reading in there. Foams are no longer required according to the one rule I read, or the quote that somebody posted up, that foams aren't required anymore, which, okay, that's fine. it's kind of funny. Like, who was it that just came out with that one tire? DS?
DE.
DE. They came out with that one where it was literally, it was like that foam tape.
Yeah.
It was like this stuff around the outside of the rim. And that was their foam. You might as well be running like an O-ring on the front, but it was a front, right?
So here's your rules right here. If you look how they've actually changed. If you look at just tires, number 4, now it says any commercially available front and rear tire, treaded and slicks acceptable, no O-rings. So they got rid of the specific short course tire rule. They did the same thing with batteries up here. I noticed that they changed this,
Yeah.
And then I think there was something I think they got rid of the chassis requirements and they just basically said any 13.5 wheelbase.
Right.
So I was always like, they went back in there. You hear the argument on stuff being available, and they basically just changed the language to commercially available in store or online, because
which is that's a crazy loaded question too, right? Like commercially available. Well, that's got a lot to do with where you are, right? Like commercially available, you ordered it from some little website online that only stocked, 20 of them because that's all they really made.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. It comes back to that whole thing of just thinking about like how much I wouldn't say our lives are better because things are pretty great right now, but just how much more evolution. I put I don't know, we'll throw McLaren out there, for example. If you're not telling me that McLaren or Tekin is just not dying to drop a new 8-scale ESC, something that's larger than the DRK. I saw that the other day, a lot of people were complaining that they had to limit how many profile presets you're allowed to have. And Colin responded, well, we're running out of flash. And that goes right back to my discussion that we had earlier about the F4 and the F7 processors. That thing is running, probably an F4 chip because if I'm not mistaken, the DRK is actually just flash software of an older ESC that they were selling beforehand. So it's really nothing special. So when you think about the technology, it's maybe a 4 to 5 year old ESC technology. Yeah. So it definitely has to have an F4 based processor. So you're dealing with, 16 gigs of 8 gigs, 16 gigs of flash RAM on there. If that, not even gigs, megabytes probably. So, so that's pretty rough.
Yeah, and actually
3D saying rumors. Yeah. There's been rumors for a long time. Tim Smith and Colin have both admitted for over a year now on the TSR podcast that they've been working on one. The problem is that, here's an example of how crazy stuff is. We talk about how crazy it is in your country. So I was listening to a Team Black Sheep live stream today, FPV, Crossfire, all that great stuff. So they're in Hong Kong. Their stuff is made in China, and then stuff comes back to Hong Kong and get final assembly before it goes out. The PCBs, anything that leaves has to be the PCBs had to be quarantined in China for 10 days before they could be shipped to Shenzhen. Then they had to be quarantined for another 10 days before they would ship them back to China. Every product is having this issue. Yep. So, and it's just hilarious to listen. Trappy's he's about as transparent as you could be as a business owner and a European guy that lives in Hong Kong to start a dream. And, he's under this rule now and, fighting all these things and people want to buy stuff. And so that's just what he's dealing with. And he is right there and in the know. So you can only imagine what it's like.
Being done, right?
Exactly. So you can only imagine what it's like for an American company trying to like do business with these people overnight on phones. And I've gained a lot of the behind the scenes stuff from listening to these no prep guys. I mean, not no prep, but the FPV guys. They've been very transparent because the FPV industry has been hit hard, real hard by what's going on right now, because everything requires a processor, everything. And you're getting like spun up people that they'd never even heard of that happen to just take a gamble and pay that extra price on a roll of F7 processors, throw it together on a board and sell it because anybody will buy it right now. You know, and there's a lot of great technology that's been coming out with that digital FPV, a DJI, a Chinese competitor, HD0. I don't know if you've heard about, the HD0 product. You know, it's a fantastic product. Carl Zhao has been funding it basically himself as a passion project because he wants people to have really great digital low cost stuff. But like, it's like the worst time ever. I feel so bad for somebody that is trying to release a real product and make a change that's better for all of us in the long run, but he just can't do it right as well as he wants to right now because of the price.
You have a lot of experience in FPV drones.
Yeah.
So have you?
There's a lot here.
You got to tell me that you can't tell me that you haven't had the idea cross your mind to throw an FPV camera setup into a drag car and try to do a couple passes.
Yeah, I'd do it my crawler.
You do it with your crawler, but you wouldn't do it with
Nah, it wouldn't be no fun. Be too fast, wouldn't be no fun. So
I think it'd be like, because you're really not able to feel or do anything. It's just straight.
Well, I mean, so with FPV, like in the crawler, I use the DJI stuff, and you know, it's got anywhere from 35 to about 70 millisecond end-to-end latency, which doesn't sound like a lot, but you know, in a 2-second race, that's going to be a lot. You know, so that would be kind of an issue. Analog you could get away with, but man, you know, that's it's pretty bumpy unless you got that thing on a gimbal and then you don't know exactly where you're actually racing. That'd be tough. So
I've seen some pretty cool drift setups.
Yes, Tim wants to do it. He wants to do FPV on his drag car. I say go for it.
I just think it'd be entertaining. Just even get the footage from it after whatever, right? Just to make a YouTube video out of it, and it would go nuts. People would be watching that, especially if you had it in one of the really fast 2-second cars in that range, you know, and not the slower. But if somebody was running a 2-second car and had that thing on there, just so you could actually visually see.
Yeah.
I think you need to put a servo on it so you can like look sideways, look out the side, give a little wave to Vin Diesel driving next to you.
Yeah.
Back down the road and go.
Well,
you do the 100-yard stare.
I mean, I've got the new GoPro Bones, which only weighs like 60 some grams. I could always throw that on there, you know, and that wouldn't add much weight to the car, and that would pretty much get everything that you need. You know, when you watch like some YouTubers, like I don't know, we'll throw out Kevin Talbot for example. You know, when he puts the GoPro and stuff on his trucks, it's interesting footage for sure, but it's really only interesting when the thing's coming back down from the moon and it hits the ground. You know, when he's just kind of doing its thing, it's like, it's a GoPro on a car, but you know, so the drag stuff would be cool.
It'd be just an interesting hit, and just have somebody running side by side with you.
I would definitely need to do analog though. The digital would definitely look better, but I would need that. I would need that connection because there's a real connection between the goggles and stuff like that. So it'd be pretty interesting to see how. I mean, it intrigues me just because I actually would want to see how much delay there was actually.
It'd be interesting to see the delay. I think that tunnel effect that you get when you're racing like 1-to-1 real stuff.
Tunnel vision.
That tunnel vision at speed. It would be really cool to see how that happened, how that translates to a 1/10 scale RC car sitting on pavement with a street in front of you, right? That'd be neat.
Yeah, the cameras, these cameras now are so amazing. The fields of view are, you know, 260. 100,
Yep.
175 degrees, so even just the
got-
FPV cameras.
You've got the GoPro bones I just released.
Yeah, I've got one of them. Yep.
Yeah. So what have you ever seen the Insta 360 Go?
Yeah, I've seen all of them.
Okay.
So I ran sessions and then stopped running sessions when I couldn't get them anymore, and went from 7 to the 8, and I stopped at the 8 because I didn't really want to increase more weight. I was really excited about the DJI Action 2 when it came out, but there was just too many, the cost barrier and just too many barriers of use. So I was just kind of holding out for something else to come around, and I never got into the whole naked GoPro thing because I didn't want to buy a GoPro and then have to destroy it. Possibly. So when GoPro announced the bones, I was like, all right, I am in, because I've been doing this for so long, and a long time ago, your people like Mr. Steel, your higher performance FPV flyers, 630, 640 grams all up was kind of like that magical flying zone. Yeah. And when we made the jump from 4S to 6S quads, we started putting bigger motors, which required bigger props, which required even more batteries and heavier GoPros. All of a sudden, we went to 700, 750, whatever. And I did everything I could to get my builds down as light as possible. I got Tim into flying drones recently, and we do every shortcut that we can do, shorter standoffs, everything. And like as low as I could ever get a quad was an analog build, of course, 20x20 analog build, 20x20 stack. It was like around 690, 695. So once you shave off that 65 grams, now all of a sudden, all of your quads are in that Goldilocks zone. You can actually prop down to a lower pitch prop. You can pit up, and Betaflight now is just as great as ever because of presets and everything else. And you can just push the tunes on these quads if you know what you're doing to the max now.
What are your rules like in Ohio when it comes to, I know, here, if it's over 250 grams, then you got to do all this licensing and all this other crap. And you can't fly there. Same deal there.
Well, so I have my 107, which is our commercial business thing. I did that crap years ago, and I did it, and I get a call every once in a while. The only reason I did it is because I do monetize the videos on YouTube. I barely release any FPV videos anymore, though, just because that's not really my audience anymore. Right. And it's not really, it's not worth it to me, to have to go through those kind of shenanigans if the FAA or anybody would reach out. But they're kind of in a state of limbo right now, just because they passed some legislation about a year ago to try to create more what they call FRIAs, which are kind of like your AMA fields, American model, licensed fields for people to fly in. Right. They pretty much, you're pretty much not allowed to fly. I think legally right now, you're not allowed to fly anywhere if you're over 250 grams. Unless you're in a FRIA. They're looking at the remote ID stuff and all that. But I think I actually just read or heard that a lot of that stuff is actually being reevaluated because Amazon cut, they cut their drone delivery program. They were really focused in on it, and they saw that it just doesn't work. I think UPS and FedEx are still working on that last mile, that they talk about, where the van drives up to the neighborhood and the guy basically opens the doors and the drones fly off. Yeah. But
like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. If you ever watch one of the behind the scenes videos of one of the drone light show companies and see exactly how much technology and planning and stuff has to go in to a precision, an arrangement like that, then you'll just be like, yeah, this is never going to happen, at least not in our lifetime,
There's a guy, oh geez, I can't remember the name of art. I want to see RC Test Flight, maybe that's what his name is.
Yep.
Out of Spokane, Seattle area there.
I've been watching him forever and I can't even remember his name. Oh
yeah. And he does
those grow up.
He does those boats and everything. He keeps on doing so much stuff with boats, and
he's doing the Snowcat.
Yeah.
The Snowcat. Dang, what is Daniel? Daniel.
Yeah, and it's all
That's his name.
all automated to run off GPS. But then you watch the video, and you watch what he's getting on his screen, and then there's
Yeah.
a delay, and then this, and
Yep.
things wandering off. And
Yeah, he's using RTR Pilot, which is pretty much. I mean, honestly, RTR Pilot is pretty much what the governments use. Believe it or not, they're just using a little bit better version of the actual flight controllers and sensors that are built into there. But Ready Bait RC is about an hour from here, and they were a huge FPV shop at the beginning of everything, and I know they've really been hurt by competition and by everything that's going on now. But I know Tim, they used to have festivals, and we would speak to those guys a lot, and they educated us a lot. The government basically is what kept them afloat, because they basically did a lot of their Pixhawk builds and stuff like that. And now you can actually for some time now, you can actually take a lot of off-the-shelf Maytech flight controllers and stuff and actually flash RG Pilot or RG Plane, RG Rover, whatever you want to, like, right to it. So it's pretty amazing stuff.
This is Gord, is local. So we had a problem last summer. A lot of people, we had huge forest fires everywhere. Like California, everywhere had forest fires, right?
Yeah.
We had these freaking morons flying their drones around, so they wouldn't even. The bombers wouldn't go out. Nothing would go out because they're freaking out. They're going to hit a drone or something, right? Just keep letting it burn because somebody wants to fly their drone around, like
Footage.
Yeah, for footage of nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm 50-50 on the walls. I just think people need to use a lot of common sense, but
that's the problem nowadays. The common sense is just not being taught.
No, but I mean, I can admit I broke a few laws or two. I mean, like I throw my wing up there and I've flown it 15, 20 miles away and hit return to home and had it fly back to me. Like you just got to try it once to see if it works.
See if it actually works. Exactly.
It does. And then when it doesn't, you got to go look for it. You're like, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah. So Jack's Games just bought an RC today. What did you buy? Is it a drag car?
A Losi 22S.
Okay, there's segue into the next question I was going to ask for you. Let's just say that it's out of nowhere, for some reason, somebody decided that you were going to do a box stock class.
Right.
You were going to do an RTR RC and take it to the track and run it. Your top pick would be what?
Well, I can't speak for what I've only owned, but from what I've gathered out of my community in the past week, that 22S roller, a lot of people are really, really about that 22. So, or the RTR, the Camaro, so that platform seems to be really popular. And I don't know if it's because like I'm dealing with a different segment, like maybe some of the DR10 owners have actually left the hobby now. And now the people that got into it, because I see that my YouTube analytics and the ups and downs, I kind of have a good feel for like what's going on in the hobby. Like right now, we're really in a boom right now, big time. And, I think the weather and coming out of COVID and everything like that is kind of driving it. But definitely isn't the frustration of how fast people are going. And it's not the innovation of cars, because these cars have all been out for years now, so
the Losi 22 is the 22.
Yeah. I mean,
platform.
Yeah, we'll see how the DR10M goes. I was pretty excited about the DR10M personally. Like I jumped on the pre-order thing. I thought it would be something great for the channel, and I mean, it was pretty well received by everybody. But then, there wasn't a lot of details in the actual advertisement and breakdown for it. So then when I saw the updated parts list come out and John Schultz's video, I was kind of like, I really wouldn't, for myself, it doesn't make sense, because like, I'm not going to drop $1,000 to make a DR10M, like, King of the Streets ready with carbon fiber and everything else instead of the G10. But for somebody else, it might be it. So I really hope that's a winner. It's coming out as a kit, which, a lot of first timers are intimidated, and that's my biggest thing, and my biggest drive and passion is try to figure out, that's my quote. Like, my hook is, we're going to make you faster today. That is what I'm trying to do and relate to like an average person. I try not to like BS anybody, I will get people that will ask, hey, like, what does this radio link radio do? How do you make it work like a Sanwa? And I just, I'm sorry, it just doesn't. There is a certain barrier to entry if you want to go to that level. Exactly.
Nothing beats that.
No. And, and if you want to hang out in the RTR world, then that's fine. But like, as soon as you start dropping any money into that RTR car, then you really have to seriously think about what you want to do, whether you want to cross from hobby to enthusiast to sport. I have no desire to race nationally or be a national champion or anything like that. I'll go to some local races, going to one hopefully next weekend if the weather holds out. Maybe I'll get knocked out in the first round. Maybe I'll win the whole dang thing. I doubt it, but I don't care. But I'm really disappointed in the manufacturers that like if everybody would have kind of coalesced together and not try to outdo each other, it would have been better for everybody in the long run.
For me, I thought right off the bat, I mean, a 3300 kV brushless combo is in every manufacturer has that combo in their wheelhouse already. So why didn't they just build their RTRs with 3300 kV brushless combos and just all of them do the same combo? So you're actually chassis against chassis, not KV.
Yeah. Right.
The poor Associated, I mean, they were the first guys to come out with the drag car.
But that's where they all went wrong right there. They came out with the drag car, but they came out with the wrong one.
Well, did they? They came out with the only one.
Well, they should have came out with what they got now, the mid-motor, because that was the up-to-date technology. They had in their back pocket. And here they released this ancient old like RC10 platform.
Yeah.
But at that time, when that came out, drag cars, a lot of the drag scene was started with two-wheel drive slashes.
In 2021, the King of the Streets guy won with a DR10.
Yes.
With a DRK.
Yeah.
A stock. So the exact same vehicle that we're all just like, that was a year ago, man.
Yeah.
That's how crazy this all happened.
Right. And then so the same thing I say, like I think they built that chassis because they had a two-wheel drive chassis, rear mounted motor.
Yeah.
All that kind of setup. So they wanted to go with what people were already running with the slashes and the conversion flashes. So they came up with an RTR that would kind of fit into that same wheelhouse, same thing. That's why they didn't do the mid motor, because I'm not going to lie, mid motor freaks people out. It freaks them out. Like guys look at it and a mid motor car does not run like a rear mounted motor does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not even close.
I like it because it's really all I've ever known. I mean, I ran the DR10 for a while, but then like right when I went to the breakout chassis, I went right to the B6 platform. And I don't really see myself, if I were to upgrade and buy a new car tomorrow, like let's say I bought like an Apollo or something like that, like I would never hesitate to go right to mid motor. The one thing I don't like about mid motor is that it eats up a lot of room and it's hard for me to place my Mamba Monster 8S in there. So that's the big problem about the mid motor. So
this was the first one I did. This was started out as an SC6 that I got from a guy and wasn't running it off-road anymore. So I decided I'd convert that over into a drag car.
Yeah.
Didn't change the arms or anything. I didn't go narrow on it or anything. I wanted to see how it was. And I went from a 2.2S. So I went from a 2.2S to that. And I still can't get that thing to go straight down the track. I can take that T2S and yank the trigger and go straight every single time. And that's the conditions we have here, right?
Right.
And I think that's the thing with the rear mounted motors seem to be easier for guys to go straight for some reason.
Well, I think it's because you really end up kind of like, I guess you kind of really end up balancing both points of the car a little bit more than a mid motor, because with the mid motor, you do have all that weight in the middle and you're kind of just adjusting your shot corners to kind of like even everything's out. Maybe you'll use a little bit of brass up front to offset for something, so on and so forth. But with the mid motor, like my DR10, with the rear motor, my DR10 had to have a ton of brass on the front of it. Like it's just the way it was. So, if you start getting into like all of the off-road JQ theory and stuff like that from Invisible Speed and stuff, and learning about, roll centers and all that different kind of stuff and the frame geometry, I think you can kind of like see how that stuff kind of works in drag cars. So I think you just got these forces that are pushing down the front and the back of the car naturally,
right?
Because it either wants to wheelie or not. My mid motor doesn't wheelie. Like I've never seen it pop a wheelie at all.
Well, Aaron's got a 2.2. 2.2. What was yours? Was it 2.0 or 3.0?
3.0.
3.0 with the Vader chassis on it from Exocad.
Yeah.
Right? So he converted his over. Hold on. Yeah, we'll answer your question here in a second. Just let me rub this and make you bigger. Here you go.
What kind of what electronics do you have in there? Nothing right now. Oh wait, there it is. Oh, hobby wing. So you're using your Sanwa for ramping and stuff?
No, I just I run it linear. I'm all about purity of how you pull that trigger.
Ugh.
He's an on-road racer though. Like, he does a lot of on-road racing, so he's got a lot more finesse on the trigger than I do. By far.
Formula One, you gotta be easy on that throttle. It's all me, baby. It's all me.
Well, hey, that's a good class right there. No Sanwas, no DRKs. It's like ESC tuning only.
But yeah, I got my Sanwa. That's what I use. Running hobby wing because that's what tries to get easy. Got three turn motor in there, and got the boost and everything in there, just gentle, just right, so I can run the motor back to back runs.
3.5.
Yeah,
and it's a great car. It was definitely the fastest on our testing tune.
Yeah,
nice.
So
we're doing like I think our fastest time that we can get with our traction we have here is probably like a 2.3. I got my car down to a 2.3, almost a 2.2 last year, and that's all the surface has, right? Going faster,
that's dry tire as well, right? So
yeah.
Is that GNSS time or is that like actual track mate?
On actual track time, not GNSS.
Nice.
Well,
we run the Traxxas tree.
DTS1.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we run it so it's like really quick. It's like we do the bracket race. So we'll do the outlaw class. We'll do a bracket style, the tournament bracket. So you get a test hit, a qualifying hit from each lane.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then you get into it, and the app works pretty good if you know how to run it.
Right. How's your guys' how is your like scene and participation up there? Up and down or
good?
Growing?
Like last year was good. We had enough to do because we're a small town.
Right.
So we had like a 10 to 12 every second Monday we go out and we do it. So enough to do a top 10 list.
Yeah, we really saw our attendance just go. There was a few of us really took it serious and put a lot of money into it, and a lot of people, we should have made as a collective, we should have got rid of the top 10 and just cash your days all the time and go to something that was more conducive for everybody. So we switched to dial in and bracket racing in like August, September. And, we kept a hold of people. We brought in a few bit more, but it wasn't any bigger. So this year I really don't know what's going to happen this year. I'm pretty sure our race director might end up selling our track system just because it's valuable and he's got a lot built into it. It's hard for us to find a permanent place to go and set up that runs really good. That's our problem right now. And, some people that either have a lot of money invested into it, or maybe they don't have like multiples of cars, which I don't either. I have for some, I have an addiction to build every quadcopter that there is. But when it comes to drag cars, I could care less about having one, just more than one, because they take so much time and effort compared to like, FPV flying. It's amazing. It's the first hobby I've had where I'm like, I'm good with one. I only want two so I can do things personally and, for the channel and the community, because people want to know like, hey, what does the new DRK software do? What does this look like? How does this work? How do these tires work on this car? So that's the only reason I'd like to do that. But I just tell anybody that sees this, if you're, if you notice attendance is going down or something like that, and you're having these organized events, try to find a way to like keep them going and not keep people frustrated.
We've got guys. Well, one of our founding members of the drag racing, flat straight up said, "I'm not going anymore because it's not fun. I'm not fast enough to even be competitive. So what's the point?"
Yeah, and
it's sad, right? Because he was consistent. He showed up all the time. He was always there. We had a fairly good core group of guys that were all, but none of them wanted to drop $1,000 on a car to make it go fast, right? They wanted to take their car, do a little bit of stuff, make sure the battery pack's charged up good, and they wanted to actually have that rush of beating the light and beating, somewhat even. But now, we got so many guys. We have one guy local down in Kelowna. He'll buy a new chassis every year. Right.
Yeah. Well, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like everybody, I think I'm the only guy that didn't switch chassis this year. I actually just switched from the 4mm to the 3mm on my chassis last week, just because I've been like, all right, I'm going to do it. I didn't even touch the car all winter long, because when I went to bed, when we stopped racing, I had, on the track, a 1998 car, and I wasn't going to touch it, but I put the Castle 1412 in it, mess with that for the past couple weeks. And, between trying to figure and learn that 4-pole madness, as well as battling all the different surfaces and conditions, I put the 2.5 turn back into it. And, now I'm right back at 2.2 or so. I did get a 2.2 out of the Castle, but the consistency of the clean hits, it's got a weird power curve, that 1412.
What's your feeling on the 169 race pass?
I mean, I think the same as everybody else. The guy right next to her with a blown belt ran like a 175 because he got out of the hole because the track was covered with glue. Which, like I've heard RC Drag Talk guys, Tyler and them explain it, and I like the idea of how it progressed, because he said, look, that's a street race. And you hear everybody on the TV show say the same thing. The first couple of weeks they show up at the track, they're all struggling to get down the lanes. And then once that rubber starts getting down and they start making hits on it, they get better and better and faster and faster. So I guess if we're trying to mimic that, why should it be any different? It just happens in a weekend versus, however long it takes them to do it.
See, Frog, I just found you a project. You want to build something? Go build yourself a R1 DR race, whatever that drag chassis is. It comes with no instructions, so it's like super fun to try and build.
Good luck trying to find it. That's for sure.
We got one.
One of the DC ones.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
With the ground or the body mount kit.
The floating body mount kit.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm sitting there and I don't know. I'm thinking about taking that one that was in the picture for the thumbnail, selling it to this dude here, and then building up that other one, because I just want to see what it's like to build, because it looks like it would be freaking awesome, right?
Yeah. They're nice builds, all of them, whether it's an Apollo, a 5-star, any of them, they're nice. I'd probably say, of course, the R1 and the Apollo and stuff would be a little bit more fun, just because you're building all their stuff. You're not building like a buggy transmission and then just slapping it on there like I did with my conversion, even though I know they have a full kit coming out here shortly. But it's fun to build. Tim, like I wouldn't have probably been able to put my chassis together if it wasn't for Tim, just because there was
like he's well practiced.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it was just like, what the, I was like how in the world can the regular person do this? So it was pretty cool to see that like they improved their instructions, and I think that kind of set a precedence for like GFRP and people like that to like, hey, we got people that have never even raced RCs before. We got to cater to them too. You know, we got to make them instructions. You know, it's overlooked.
Being a store owner, I'm kind of sitting here. I've been tossing around the idea. I've talked about it with Aaron a couple of times. I'm thinking about building 4 drag slashes just with brushed motors, stock brushed motors. 4 guys that you show up, you never raced a car. Here's 4 cars. You know, you go up with another person head to head with another one. You know they're going to be the same. You know they're going to be competitive, and it's actually going to be a good run, right?
Right.
And go and you can just do that'll bring the competition back and get people into it and enjoying it. But Vasal RC's got a question for you, Chad.
I'm reading that. Which do I like better, the RX-8 or the Castle? You know, I love the Castle just because I think it's I have abused it. I probably have ran things that I shouldn't have ran with it, like 45 degrees timing and everything else that it can do. But you know, if you talk to any person that owns a Castle product, they're always going to warranty it no matter what. They have no disclaimers about drag racing or anything else. Tekin will too, but it'll cost you a fee to get it replaced if you break it. And it, you know, in fact, if you're using their newest beta 295 firmware, they actually won't even replace it because right now it is alpha only. So when they release it to the public, then they will actually, and they can tell what you have on there because there's bootloaders flashed onto all these ESCs. So they know what you got.
You did.
Yeah.
Damn what you did.
Yeah. But I think Tekin had its time, and then it was kind of outshined by like what R1's doing. So I think the most competition is going to be, you know, coming up is going to be between R1 and McLaren if they can get their act together as a team, you know, and it sounds like they have really made some drastic changes and commitments based off of just what I saw, what, you know, we've seen, you know, with my little Best on Facebook show where I report the news and all that kind of stuff, you know, they all got smacked by the R1 team because the R1, I think I was going to say to you, Trav, is, you know, that DC1 chassis isn't going to do you a bit of good if you don't have their motor, their ESC, and their tune, you know, like that you need the whole package, you know, that's what they got going on. Now, sure, you can make it work if you do this and do that. I'm not saying you can't, but that's how, you know, this team think is really what is going to make them go. And I see that happen with McLaren now.
Motor. I do have the caps.
Yeah.
I don't have the ESC. I've got the old DRK 160.
Yeah. Yeah. You need the D3, man, the R1 Digital 3.
Yeah.
So they're really doing something interesting with power. You know, because if you watch some of the races, you'll see that an R1 person usually is getting an R1 person is usually either head to head or getting beat almost a half track, and then they'll just pull away from people. Like somehow they're making mile per hour that like on the end and not killing batteries or blowing up their ESCs. So, and it could be, you know, it could be that 15,000 milliamp battery that they have. I mean, it's only 593 grams, which I know is a lot, but I mean, have you seen the max amps 10,500? That's as wide as a car, because they've got their 10 cells stacked this way. You know, we don't know how many cells are actually in the R1.
You don't need to worry about the front end lifting with that. No wheelie bar needed for that.
No. You know, but it's just amazing. So, but the DC1 is a beautiful chassis. If I had one, I would build it for sure. But you know, I'm interested. You know, I like this 5-star chassis, but I like the compatibility. I've got their DR10 conversion kit coming. because I was thinking about, like I said, the DR10M. Forgot that idea. Just $130. I've tried the beefcakes brisket, but it doesn't solve the geometry problems of the DR10. Like the dog bones are still at like an incredible angle. There's no transmission rise or nothing like that.
Yeah.
So 5-star addressed that issue. So I'm lucky. I'm happy to try that out. That's going to be fun for the DR10. But man, I mean, some of these kits are just so cool. It's just so expensive though. It's the problem. You know, like I'd love to have one of those great transmissions that are handmade and everything else, but 180. But people have been doing this for years, right? Like I talk to these guys that are like, oh, that's nothing. I raced dirt oval and I used to pay $500 for this. And to me, that's a lot of money. And try not to promote that to people. I try to set a level, again, like I said earlier, there's a level of entry. I think if you want to have some good fun and be competitive, but you're either there.
Your expectations where put a budget on it and just try and stick to the budget.
And everybody can go faster this year. We got blue dots, we got better prep, we got better bodies. We've got everything's better than it was last year. I'm just slower right now. So
I think what Tim, we got a local guy, Tim, and he discovered the hard way. He bought a chassis from a guy that bought and just spent all the money. And then he's a guy who likes to build and doesn't run very often. So he built this thing up. I think he ran it once. And then he was like, "Okay, I'm done with this." Gone.
Man, he was so jacked though. He came out one time with his brand new car. He was like jumping up and down,
But it was the Nova body, right?
He was having so much fun.
Tim said he launched that thing 40 feet in the air.
Yeah,
like it just sails. Once it catches air, it is gone.
That even happened with me with the Corvette C7. I think last year during a race. I don't really watch the car a whole lot anymore because I know what it does. But, I know that it does come back on the wheelie bar. And I especially know after I took the wheelie bar off because it was, I was missing a tire and I still wanted to run. And I got down the track and it literally just, all that downforce and all that air just parachute, it just,
like a short course truck after you hit a jump.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. Yeah. Like it's just amazing what air actually does there. I've had a lot of conversations recently with Gary Campbell, Straight Line Spoilers, the t-shirt right here.
Yeah.
And he's explained a lot of his theory. It's the fastest guys are running Straight Line Spoilers, Jay Joseph to, a couple other guys, Jordan Yancey, fast guys. And, he explained a lot of the reason why I liked, Gary's a great guy. He's local. I've never met him before. He reached out to me and was talking to me because, people want to help me go faster to help people go faster.
Yep.
Small guys, not the big companies. I've tried to crack that nut and obviously I'm not big enough yet to crack it, but I'll keep trying, but, with the small guys but to have somebody explain, hey, this is what we actually see in this spoiler. Like, this is why my spoiler is, I think, better than the other person's. Like, this is why you want, he offers, like, for example, the middle part and 0.2 or 0.3 Lexan. Well, they've raced enough to see that the thinner Lexan, you want it to actually be able to come down, so you don't have it sticking straight up and it's rigid, to catch more air. You want that spoiler to be a thinner Lexan than the ones on the side, that it's just things like that.
Kind of working.
Yeah. There you go.
Really hard here.
Yeah. And like he uses acrylic screws, because the acrylic screws, they're not as cheap as nylon. They're not as strong as metal, but when you wreck, they don't break your freaking body. It's like, oh, well, that's a genius idea. I never thought about that before, and you're going to buy a spoiler, so it's just things like that I like.
There's the other, this is probably the worst body.
Worst body ever
for drag racing. Next to the pickup truck.
No room for tires in the back.
The trucks.
Yeah. Like, what's your feeling about the F100 body? And like, other than they look phenomenal, stuff's falling over back there. They look phenomenal. Okay, I'm not dissing the look of them, but do you think anybody's going to go fast with a Traxxas C10 or a low C F100? I don't
No.
think so.
I just got the Racer RC body 2 days ago, and that's the body to beat. Unfortunately, I totally wrecked it with my paint job, and I just can't salvage it. Oh, you got cats in your videos too, just like me. So I've got another one coming. I've got another one coming to. Let's just say that I'm a one coat spray coat guy, and that's it. So I'm not doing any more masking. I actually painted the whole outside of it today black just so I could run it tomorrow. I'm like, I don't care.
Wonder, eh?
Yeah, I gotta run this body. Then when the new one gets here, then I'll paint it right. But the GTR body is sitting back here, which was the replacement for the C7. I was lucky enough to get one that didn't have the hood deformities and stuff like that. I remember when shark bodies were popular, they offered them in like a 0.4. Well, they still are popular. But when they first came out and they were kind of like, one of the only people in the game, they offered the Lexan in different thicknesses. When I put my hands on the Racer RC Mach 22, it is a thick, hard body. It's almost like a hard scale body. And you're not really looking at much of a weight consequence because you're gaining so much stability because it's not going to collapse anymore. And it's another thing like the Voodoo tires. You don't understand it until you actually hold it. You almost think that somebody's just, BSing you and trying to sell you something. But like when I felt it, I was like, wow, this feels like a plastic body, not a Lexan body. It's that big of a difference.
Gord's got a question for you.
I've seen
already answered this. You already answered this one kind of, but I don't think he was on. He was building
a good beginner
garage.
I mean, if you could hold out, I would wait and see what happens with this DR10M. I think the DR10M is a definite upgrade to the DR10.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it just is, and especially at the price point, you can't beat it. It's going to be a kit, so you're not going to be wasting your money on things that you're going to replace anyway, like wheels, bodies. Things
Wheels,
like that.
Tires, bodies, electronics.
Yep. So if you can hold out, I mean, I don't really have faith in their supply chain just because we know what happened with the regular DR10 and conditions are even worse right now. So maybe the pre-order people are going to get it and nobody else will be able to get it for a while. But man, I think that would be that is like the one kit that could possibly help NPRC grow. That's why I was excited about it. And I'm not going to say that I still might not end up with one on the channel, but I think that for me personally, like I said, it just didn't make monetary sense. I'm not rich, so I just can't have a stock car.
I might be saying this wrong. Visalia, anyways, wants to know. He was a king of the streets, and all the top guys I talked to pretty much said the same thing. To be competitive, you need to have some type of carbon chassis. Do you agree?
I mean, I guess in a way, but if the DC1 or any of those other chassis were injection molded, I think they would be just as good. They would be maybe fragile, but it's all about the geometry and how they work. Now, I think the carbon does, carbon fiber does control resonance, and I'm a big believer in that kind of stuff. That's why it took me forever to jump from the 4mm to the 3mm chassis, because people's cars who were fast at the beginning of last summer, their cars were not working the same at the end of the year, and we didn't know why. And once they started stripping down their cars, they had actual fractures inside the carbon. It wasn't at the edges where you could see delamination, but it was in the inside from the flex.
But that's also being caused because not only is that a problem happening in drag racing, but you're probably seeing in FPV drones as well. The quality of the carbon fiber that you're getting, just the raw material itself, is not coming out at the same quality it used to, because they're doing everything they can just to get it out the door. Never mind.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I have paid like So I've paid more money for more expensive FPV drone frames, like the Impulse RC stuff and everything like that, like the Alien and the Apex, just because I know it's cut out of at least 5K carbon fiber.
Is that your back scratcher or what, man?
Cat wants attention. I wasn't home today.
Yeah,
I
but
was out and about, so a cat wants attention.
I've had good luck with the clone kits too, just because they usually have thicker arms. So
Right.
there's ways to filter that stuff with FPV. With drag cars, there's not really a way to filter it. Like we don't have gyros and stuff that we have to worry about smoothing out our stick commands. You know, we're just running down the road as fast as possible.
Vibrating it down the street.
Yeah. And sometimes you can hear that. Like, you know, when you hear one of those plastic chassis flapping down through there, you know, you can hear it. Body rubs and all that kind of stuff.
That chassis that Tim was running on Monday night, that's a Bullet, wasn't it?
Yeah, Bullet chassis.
It was a Bullet chassis. Now, I know the first time when Marcus brought it out, I remember he took a pretty good flip and he landed nose first on an angle. And the whole front end, because it's probably one of the things that I hate the most about a lot of these carbon fiber, graphite, whatever chassis.
Yeah.
There's no machining done into them to lock them into place. Like what the front bulkhead shifted and it twisted sideways just a little bit. And
it's just plate on plop of plate screwed together. There's there's no chamfer.
And so the next run, he was just hard left every single time he went.
Yeah.
Hard left. He's like, what the hell's going on with this? So we're like, well, why don't you loosen off all the screws, loosen them all off and tighten them all back up again, and it straightened the sucker back out. Now, if it was some kind of a chassis where they'd machined in some, I don't know, what would you call it?
Key locks
or
some kind of
sunk heads
square up would be perfect.
Well,
that's
all the FPV drones. Yeah.
I wish they had that with all of these high-end chassis, and even the R1 one, this prototype one that I've got. I popped that open and looked in the box, and man, they sure know how to drill holes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
that's all you're doing. That's all you're doing. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of imagination that could go in order to like do things like that. Yeah. I just don't think that, you know, I think it's one of those uncharted territories, right? Like there's no way to prove that you want to make this out of better carbon fiber yet. They just want to cut carbon fiber. I know a lot of people that run, you know, they've bought stuff and cut it themselves, you know. I mean,
we've got guys on the on-road side that do the same thing.
Yeah. You know, whether you agree with that or not, you know, people are doing it.
So if there's any system for carbon fiber, grading system for carbon fiber, similar to how there is for aluminum.
Yeah, there is. The weave and the epoxy that's used. Okay. So they use it's called it's the K number, like the grade of the K number. I've seen like 4,000, 5,000. The other way too is how the carbon fiber is put together. And this is just stuff that I know from FPV. You know, you want your weaves to be in alignment with the forces of impact. So if you look at like, you know, a knockoff FPV drone, and like if you look at the arms, which are actually diagonal, you want the weave pattern, I think, to be diagonal versus being against the grain, being straight up and down. So that way, you know, if you crack it and break it right there, then it's less likely to break if it's with the strongest part of the weave.
I gotta look at this. I gotta look at this now so I can decide whether or not I'm selling it to Aaron or not. See if the weaves are going the right way.
Well, and that's the thing is I don't know. I think they all just go the right way, like and there's no way for them to go on a actual.
It's pretty much going the right way.
Yeah. So it's all diagonal. So that's kind of what you want. But yeah, I just think we're not there yet where people are going to say the drone world is, because people are like, it was a scramble to the bottom in the past 3 to 4 to 5 years. So when somebody said our carbon fiber is the best carbon fiber, it's 5K carbon fiber, you know, it's chamfered, it's clean, it's, you know, we use the best epoxies, and then they build that reputation, then that's what you go with. Like there's definitely when I feel my impulse frame versus my knockoff open sourced source one frames, there's a big difference in just the way the carbon feels.
Yeah.
I see it too with like the race world where one guy he got this carbon fiber and he made some chassis. They're great and all. Technology, what he did was pretty cool, but the quality of the carbon fiber wasn't there.
Yeah.
Whereas X-ray is known for great carbon fiber.
Right.
So
yeah,
that's kind of he had some innovations, but he's missing out on that quality.
Yeah. The best carbon fiber I ever felt in my life, and this is just like, man, this is why we call ourselves Dorky&40, right? Talking about carbon fiber quality. There was a guy that used to make quads a couple years ago, and I can't remember exactly what they were called, what his were called. I built a couple of them, and they were great frames for the time. But he had a I don't know if it was necessarily a carbon fiber tumbler machine, but his carbon fiber was tumbled. And what it felt so smooth, and it had a very weird, like smooth and just elegant feeling to it. Like not only was it chamfered, but everything about it was just amazing. And I wish I could remember the name of his company. I'm sure he still cuts frames every once in a while, but probably not a whole lot anymore.
Funny, it reminds me. When I was in high school, there was a guy who he was borderline genius. He was freaking super smart, and he would do all the stuff on his own. And he was building sub boxes and stuff for his car out of carbon fiber, but he was molding it into the actual body lines and everything. And he was molding it all. And you're just looking at it going, holy man. Like, and back then he was in high school and he could afford to do that. Can you imagine trying to do that now?
Wow. So he was buying the actual fabric and epoxying and laying up the sheets. So, I mean, it's just like laying up. I mean, it's not just like it, but it's like fiberglassing. You've got to be a lot more careful.
He was acoustically tuning these things too. But he had this little speaker that he mounted up, and then he would actually test the bass tones and everything. And if he didn't like the way it was sounding, he'd rechange this section and change the volume and I was like, holy man. He spent probably 2 months just doing one speaker.
Wow. I got a few buddies that actually do that kind of stuff still. They go to like car stereo shows and stuff like that. And they got like, some of the 70s, 80s cars that are, my one friend has like 12 or 14 cars. He goes all the way back into, I think he's got like a 30s or 40s, like Ford pickup now or something like that. Wow. He's got it all. Yeah. I remember when we were 17 years old listening to Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, and he had a 6'4" Impala because of them. He got it from North Carolina for like $3,800, baby powder blue with the white top. It was just, man, you should see it now. It's beautiful.
This guy right here, he's freestyle motocross, freestyle bike, right? He's local here. And that's funny you say 6'4" because he used to listen to Eazy-E all the time.
Oh yeah. Yep. Me too. Who didn't? That was when music was great. The 90s was the best rap, the best rock and not the best rock and roll, but probably the best rock and roll that like will be in my lifetime.
Memorable.
I mean,
memorable. Stuff that people know. You play it now, most of them will go, I know that song. I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Some of the new stuff, they're going to be like, like 2 years from now, whatever's cool right now nobody will even remember who it is.
So like much Nickelback. Of it's just and Nickelback's all right, but it's like some of the stuff that's out there now is just, I don't know. It's just noise, man.
Here you go, Aaron, you wanted to know? Now you know.
Euro trucks.
He's keeping his Euro truck.
Yeah, come out when we're gonna do on-road racing. What, about a month?
Be the
longer.
The Thursday before Father's Day.
Yeah,
the first on-road test and tune race.
Well, you can see my buggy up there. I tried off-road this winter, So
It was an indoor carpet.
yeah, I'm bad.
I see.
Bad
What do you got?
bad
up
enough to bad enough to have a 17.5 in it and still get smoked by the 21.5 people. that kind of bad. But man, it was just fun. It was a dream come true. I always wanted to do that stuff, you know, watching all these kids when I was a kid, watching people race dirt, you know, dirt tracks growing up in the 80s and stuff, and flipping through RC Car Magazine and all that. And then it just died. Like, you know, I had no interest in it and everything, you know, throughout high school and college. And you know, when I started getting back into this stuff. So I built that thing just, I mean, no expense spared. It's embarrassing. Titanium, everything. It just is bad. And to do what I did to that poor car this year is an insult to that car.
Perfect. But, keep doing it. Do it again.
I am. This summer, like, I'm just going to go out there and turn laps. Right? Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to go out there this summer when there's 4 or 5 people out there and just turn laps.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what I'm going to do. So,
Jordan, I'm guessing Kelly bought your X-ray.
Or did Tim buy it?
No, Tim wouldn't buy his X-ray.
I think it's Tim. Tim sent me a message there night. So I guess I'm buying another X-ray.
Dirt is easier.
Dirt is easier. Eh?
Well, dirt's even more. Oh, I started when I came back to the RC world. I started with the dirt. I loved it at first. And then I got onto carpet, indoor on-road carpet. And I was like, there's no ruts. The track doesn't change, you know.
Right.
Like,
you're on rails.
Basically. Yeah, driving on rails. It's good.
Yeah. That's so weird because, like, you know, sometimes when it's hard to get into a groove, right? Because, like, you're constantly you're fighting yourself, you're overcorrecting, you're undercorrecting. I had a hard time really building that connection with the trigger, and then you start playing with your ESC and you really don't know what you're doing. You know, you're trying to just do this and do that, and I'm playing with the Sanwa and turning down the dual rate and turning it up, and you know, it's like, it's just so foreign to be like, why can't, you know, I if I get in like a 2-lap groove, the end of that second lap, man, I'm like, okay, I'm going into this turn, I'm powering into it. You know, that's how you feel. You feel great. And then just something stupid happens. Like you go up that wall turn and you just go up it straight too much and your car just falls backwards. You know what I'm saying? Just ruins your day. Then you got to wait on a spotter, you know, a corner marshal. So
by the time another lap's gone by, the leader goes by again.
I know. I'm like, how in the world are you guys doing this? You know? So Tim had me, he's like, you need to go to 21.5. He's like, just put a 21.5 car in there, a motor. Cause I was taking 17.5 and just turning it down because I didn't want to spend the money on a motor. So they talked me into it. And I think it was easier. You know, I'm not 100% sure. It's just, I need to just put more time into it. And the other thing I didn't like about it was, you know, only racing like the one class. You know, it's a long day, man. Like I got a lot of work coming up on, you know, the week. I don't want to set out there for 8 hours and just run my car for 15 minutes.
What's the
turnout?
What I'm
saying?
What kind of turnout did you see at that?
60, 70 people.
Holy.
Pretty big. I mean, we would have 3 to 4 heats at minimum at 17.5 and 3 heats at 21.5. And then there's like stadium truck, minis, stocks, slashes, you know, so there's a lot of classes, that are going on too.
RC down on the coast, same thing. They got what, 60 to 80 on average is what they were getting for turnout. Yeah. You said it's an all day affair, right? Like, and the guys who are running the track or every club has the same thing, right? There's 5 guys usually in a club. There's 5 guys that end up doing all the work. Every club.
Yeah.
It's unanimous across the board. Doesn't matter what the hobby is. It doesn't matter what the sport is. There'll be 5 club members that do all the work.
Yeah.
And all the other guys will pay their fees and they'll show up every once in a while to help, but they're not consistent on showing. or they'll book out when it's time to call her a day or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and our guy, that's a long Sunday for him because he
Yeah.
leaves off road and he comes and like does our drag races in the evenings and stuff. So I'm kind of glad that he's thinking about kind of ditching the timing system and stuff, and we can start doing things a little bit differently. You know, I've kind of went out and kind of helped out just to kind of keep us going and bring everybody together. And I went to like some local retail places and spoke to the managers and stuff there, and kind of got some permission to run. And I contacted our local police department because we got a strip of brushed concrete on this road that does not get used. That is just we're gonna rip that place. Like, I went out there last year. My first set of videos were out there. But I quit going there just because it's right behind a hotel, and that there was stuff being built city over, and they were housing people there. And I really didn't feel comfortable because they would come out and mess with me and stuff like that. And I would carry my gun out there with me anyway, because you're kind of out there exposed in the middle
we don't have
of
that problem
country.
here.
Yeah. So,
we just have a hard time finding flat road.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's anywhere.
Flat space than we do.
Yeah, but it's just trash. It's like you guys, it's trashed. And then we're like Rust Belt City. It's like there's miles and miles of concrete, like within 20 miles of us. And it's all just awful. It's all just beat up and old torn down stuff and nothing anymore. So I think like when it goes back to that and trying to just do things and make fun, a lot of people try to just make it interesting. You don't want to go out and just like constantly test. You still want to race and have fun, right? So I'm like kicking around ideas of like, let's do things like, I know that I'm faster than you. I'll give you 5. I'll give you 5 car lengths. Let's do it for $5.
So
anything.
I know you're big. You really like the idea of a bracket racing class.
Yeah.
What do you guys do in Ohio or locally in your club?
Yeah.
To figure out, one, what's the bracket speed should it be? And how do you guys, what do you do to make that bracket window? How are you guys figuring that out?
The way that our dial, it's more of dial in. So basically, when you are at the same place every week, you know what your car does. But we do give people, we would show up and we would have about an hour and a half, not very many people, 10 to 12. So everybody could usually make at least 3 or 4 passes, easily. So what your car is going to do. So what we would do is just go ahead and dial in our time. So I would say, I'm going to run a 2-2. So the other person would say they're going to run a 2-3. Well, you know how it goes. If neither one of us break out, I run a 2-2-5. He runs a 2-3. He wins because he's 0.5 seconds closer to his time. But then if we both break out, it goes the opposite way. Who's ever closer to their dial in time and breaks out the least, if one breaks out or the other one doesn't. And then you still got red lights and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
But it was I know it was the first thing that put money in my pocket at an actual race.
Mm-hmm.
Like my car, I spent so much time on it. Like it was a 2-1 car, and I knew how it would change throughout the night. Like it would basically just get a little bit slower and then a little bit faster. For some reason I would start at like 2-1-5. I'd get down to like 2-0-5 and then back to 2-1. And so I would always set my dial in time like around 2-1. And then usually people would break out, both people. But if you could tell that somebody was going to break out, there's strategy involved. You can let off. You can take that gamble and let off that trigger, or you can just let them go. And if they break out and you don't even move, you win, So there's a lot more stuff like that. It becomes more of like a game than it does And that's more enjoyable, I think, for people.
Yeah.
Like when we had 25, 30 people coming, if we would have done that instead of having the same 2 or 3 people whipping everybody and just donating $20 to their household basically every week,
Yeah.
then we would have kept it. And then the people that were like mad, now they're still going to be mad and quit because they're still running 2.8s or 2.9s and they're breaking stuff and they want to go fast, but at least they can still be out there and be competitive and have fun. So that's my biggest advice to everybody is if you have that kind of technology, you know, you can run your outlaw class, run your top 10, but then, you know, if you want to, but then make something that, because we're never going to have a real stock class, a spec class. You know, if there's too much money, it's gone. The only way that happens is, you know, it happened in FPV racing. So Evan Turner is the fastest racer on the planet besides maybe Min Chen Kim. He developed his own company. And since he's won everything, including the DRL on TV, he basically can call the shots. So he's like, we're going to create a spec racing class. So everybody's going to run what I make because everybody was already running his frames anyway.
Yeah.
Because it's the best frame. The only thing we're going to do is we're going to put it on a 3S battery. And there's your spec racer right there.
Yeah.
So this has to come full circle.
Yeah. That ship has kind of sailed, I think, with drag racing in RC because they missed that window, right?
It's like a year and we've got so much innovation and stuff like that. I think that's coming and we're always going to get people that are coming in and leaving just like any other hobby, right. You know, like I think it's just going to be in life cycles. So as soon as we get that big person and I don't know if that's the problem is that I don't see a lot of these companies wanting to take risk. They're very, very risk adverse. Even the big manufacturers, RC to me has been such a weird thing learning about all this stuff compared to coming from like the FPV drones and being so involved in it for 4 or 5 years, you know, like seeing how the products were just slammed in your face from these Chinese manufacturers, you know,
all the time.
When a new radio came out, man, or a new flight controller, 30 people had those things and all their YouTube videos dropped at the same time. And you're like, holy cow, I got to buy that thing or I'm not going to buy that, one or the other.
Not the case in RC.
No, not at all.
Surface side of RC at all.
Yeah. And I'm trying to kind of like, I'm trying to do that myself, you know, like, you know, create that kind of an atmosphere. Not that I want to like push products or whatever, but I'm hoping that like, you know, there's less of this old school thinking and more of like a newer type of thinking. And
like with us on this channel, all the stuff that any of the review stuff that we've done, anything, it's been a new product. Yeah. So being a dealer, I can get access to some of these things before your normal person does, but I'm not getting these things prior to them being released like some of these channels do.
And then if you are, you're under NDA.
Yeah, exactly. And then also if these guys, they all say that they don't, but I can guarantee you they're giving a better review for that product because it was given to them to review. And they're afraid if they give a crap review, what's going to happen? They're not going to get given another product next time it comes out.
Yeah. Well, at least in America and on YouTube, they really crack down on that stuff. Like you have to basically tell that it's a paid promotion and whether or not you receive the product for free or you received any compensation. And, you know, with the FPV guys, the ones that are actually somehow a few of them, a handful, 10 are still doing it as a career now, just YouTube. Maybe some of that 10 has ventured out to either building frames, selling parts, or the commercial space. But you know, it's I don't know. There's my hope though, but I just don't see it because there's not I guess the worst thing about it is there's not a relationship to China. There's not a driver, and that's the plain and simple way I can say it. There's not a driver that is out there dominating everybody that has a relationship to China that can get the product made that will be cheap enough that could recircle and reinvent the wheel to make the stock class and make it happen. Nobody's going to do it. You know, everybody wants to be a part of the team and makes the money. Yeah. See, one of the most amazing radios ever. There's been multiple versions of it. I know people that have bought every version of that Radio Master that's came out because they do such a good job of promoting it. You know, all you got to do is like build that, and you know, these like the DR10M, like they need to, like, in a perfect world, everybody knows. So let's just name names: Jordan Yancey, Tim Smith. All, you know where I'm going with this. All your big NPRC drag racers would have the DR10M and be able to like do a review about it the day that it launched.
Yeah.
That kind of model. But that's just never going to happen because of this team craziness stuff.
Also, same thing when you talk about a stock class, like a stock spec style class. All of these top guys that have been racing and that are winning and king of the streets and all that stuff, if you could get all of them to all line up and grab the same controller, same car, same everything, go out and run it.
Yeah.
And actually walk away from it without saying, that sucks, my brand is better. Then you might see a stock class. But you're never going to see that, right?
No. And I mean, those have been some of my conversations that I've put out to vendors, you know, basically like, do you think your pro driver gives a crap and is ever going to do anything about this DR10 conversion chassis? You know, right. I will. And, you know, I've got 100,000 unique viewers a month and, you know, 45,000 hours a month in views, you know, of hours, you know, like, that's not to be looked down upon. And I, you know, when it comes to that stuff, and I know there's other people that are doing this too, that get, you know, very good numbers too, that I have good relationships with, like Dave at Power Mad Racing and Coach D, and, you know, some other people that I follow here online. You know, I don't know. It's a tough nut. Like I said, it's a different nut.
I find it funny when I read some of these comments here. The Dumbo X4. You ever seen a Dumbo X4?
I have a Dumbo radio on my TRX4.
What do you like in Canada up here? Dumbo is pretty, like you're ordering it online. You're not finding it in a hobby shop.
I got it on Amazon, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got to be, that thing has to, there's no way it's FCC certified. There's no way it's legal anywhere. It's got to be blasting at like 20 watts because I can drive that thing. That's what I have in my TRX4 with my DJI FPV goggles. I literally can drive it a mile away and it doesn't even fail safe or nothing. I've got the video quality, you know, it's so it definitely does not fall under FCC, you know, IEEE or 802.11 power constraints. That's for sure.
Terry. Dumbo RC6 channel to the 5. I don't know. I'll wait till you see the G7 or the GP7.
Is this for drag racing, Terry, or just regular RCing?
Terry's doing pretty much regular RCing.
Regular RCing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, when I see that Fly Sky stuff, that's where I am like, you know, hey, it does I see that the Fly Sky Noble will do throttle control just like the Sanwa M17. You know, do you know how to do that? No, I'm sorry. That's one of those barriers of entry. You know, like I'm just when you go from hobbyist to like enthusiast, you just have to make that leap. And I mean, besides that, it's an amazing piece of technology. You know, the Sanwa is just, it's hard to swallow buying $100 receiver, but
it is.
But this guy here is the reason I have it.
I could, like, when I first started, I started 11, 12 years ago, back seriously. So I had what did I have? I had just the crappy, I had Spectrum to start with.
because I think
And
I
then
got
everybody
it
told
early.
me, you need to get high end Spectrum or
Right.
Sanwa. So then I got to use high end Spectrum. Like, okay, this is a little bit better. But then when I actually got the new Sanwa, the M12,
Yeah.
I was like, wow, like, why was I resisting this for so long?
Right.
I know.
Why?
And I had that Futaba.
Oh my god, I wanted to kill you with that thing. It's like,
Right.
oh, program this for me.
Yeah, I didn't have the patience to program this stupid thing anymore. So I'm like, here.
I bought the 7PX.
Like,
I owned the 7PX for about a month, and for maybe not even a month, maybe a couple weeks, and then I was just like, "There's no help with this to tell me what I need to do."
Mhm.
Like, I know Tim helped me, and I watched a couple other videos, but they're just the Sanwa M17 for drag racing is just where it's at, because the granularity of the control is just amazing. And then, I always go down the road of, with the FPV stuff again. Like FPV, I've learned so much, when it comes to comparing radio links. And, most people are like, oh, it's all about latency and it's all about this. Well, it's more than that. It's how the radio and that receiver are actually delivering the PWM signal. So if the packet rate is inconsistent, if it delivers 5 packets 1 millisecond, 20 the next, skips a couple frames, and then decides to catch up, like your ESC and your throttle ramp is never going to be smooth and in control. And there's no way for me to prove that and show that to anybody. But I've seen those exact same radio protocols from, like Fly Sky and, FR Sky and Spectrum. I've seen those actually logged, because we can log all that stuff with FPV in the flight controllers and everything, and
Right.
we can see that packet delivery and see who is the most consistent, see who is the slowest, see who's the fastest, and you just kind of assume that they're using the same protocol everywhere. So I wish there was some way to see a Sanwa protocol, with a Futaba too. Like I've seen the Futaba 2.4 protocol, people fly Futaba as well, with some FPV drones there for a little bit. So I've seen it logged, and it was pretty respectable, like you would think.
Around here, being that we're in the Rockies, and there's a lot of rock crawling, a lot of RC crawling stuff goes around here. Fly Sky Noble has been crazy popular amongst those guys because you got all these channels and extra battery,
Right.
all that stuff, and it's a good, fairly durable controller.
Right.
That realm.
Yeah.
The same guys will bring it and try to go race or something, and it's a gong show because it's not that good of a radio for that. It works great for crawling, and crawling is it's a channel game with crawling.
Right.
Scalers and crawlers, they want channel to make the lights come on. They want channel to make the doors
winch,
pop open, whatever.
Yep.
Right? Winch, this, that. That's the only reason I have a Spectrum DX6R, the old one that had the Android touchscreen and everything on it.
Oh, okay.
Discontinued that one. I have one. All my crawlers run that because I can get 6 channels on that. And I can use say like a TRX4. You're using 5 channels just with that truck alone.
Right.
You add a winch or anything, I filled up all my channels, right?
Yeah.
Sanwa, all you're going to get is 4.
Right.
Which is fine for racing. Who cares, right? And it's fine. I use it for racing. I'm probably going to switch over my rock bouncer to the Sanwa because it's got quicker reaction time as well.
Yeah.
Because you want that speed, you want that reaction. But crawling,
Yep.
Right? Yeah. Same thing with the drones and all the stuff, right? You need that reaction time.
Yeah, you want that late, the big thing that we say in FPV and how they log all that stuff is you want the vehicle, the flight controller or whatever to follow as close as it can to the stick command. And that's basically what you're doing, whether it's your throttle or it's your steering. Like that's what we're trying to do. RC hasn't really even crossed into the digital realm at all. Like we're still using PWM protocols, We're not even using digital signal protocols like S-Bus or crawl, the new stuff, the really high, fast refresh stuff like, TBS Tracer, Express LRS, Immersion RC Ghost, the things that these FPV racers are using. And that stuff does make a difference because, these guys are turning, when you watch them race, you gotta have that. I mean, I don't know when's the last time you've Google Evan Turner and take a watch.
You can't watch them race because you
can't.
So fast.
It does not make any sense at all.
No, it doesn't,
it's just I do that stuff, and I've got gates set up in my field right now that I fly around in, and I still get nervous when I fly through. I'm like, don't hit the gate. I don't want to go get it.
Dustin, one of our guys, one of our regular guys in the store. Dustin he bought a little, like a tiny whoop kind of idea.
Yep.
And then he bought a bigger one. And this guy puts freaking 8S motor combos into the STX6 and jumps the damn thing. And he takes the Limitless and puts Coke can size motors in them and stuff like that. He overpowers everything he owns.
Right.
Everything he owns. And he'll go out and run those things with no problem. He goes and runs this little tiny whoop about this big. First time I've ever seen he's like, my palms are sweating, man. I can't handle this. This is crazy. This thing is so stupid fast. Right. And it's just, the little drones, I think I could see myself getting into those. I don't think I could ever get into the bigger drones.
Yeah.
Tiny whoop stuff, I kind of dig that stuff a bit.
Tiny whoop racing is actually really huge. I mean, it's pretty much something you can do anytime, all year long, indoors. It doesn't require a lot of space. They damage nothing. The only thing you can do with tiny whoops is get it caught in somebody's hair. That's really all you can do. The most damage you can do. So
me and Chad are sharing the same
don't have to worry about it. But
we're good.
The ladies definitely should have hairnets on. And they have, here in America, I mean, I don't know if they have it up here, but here in America, they have races at like bars. Bars have tiny whoop night. Things like that. So it's just great. I have a friend that is really close by here that's part of our RC club, and he used to work at our hobby shop around here. He actually works at Flight Test now, which I'm sure you're familiar with them. They're, everybody knows them that's in the hobbies. They helped really reinvigorate the RC planes for this generation, with their
3 flight test kits in the closet.
Yep.
Gonna do a video with them at some point.
I've kind of fallen out of them just because, I don't really watch a lot of their stuff anymore, but they're an hour and 15 minutes from me. They bought that big golf course and they got that field for everybody to come and fly at whenever.
Warehouse set up there.
Oh, they got everything. But Wesley Blue Jay Burson is his name. He's I call him Mr. Second Place because he finished second at every tiny whoop race, major race for years straight, but he is so good at that. And I watch his DVR, and the places that they fly these tiny whoops now are just amazing. And the courses are always cool. The gates are cool, and it's got a whole culture behind it. If you like to party and all this kind of stuff and goofy music and I don't know, fire dancers, whatever your pleasure. They got all kinds of weird stuff going on with some of those tiny, the only thing you got to watch if you get into those is you got to make sure that you get one that has the cameras, the smaller camera sensors. They put really weird lenses on it that really give you a weird disorienting fisheye. And you'll never be able to fly it that well. Definitely look at the reviews of them and stuff like that. I've had a lot of luck with the Emacs, the Tiny Hawks and stuff like that. You can fly them on 1S inside. They come with an adapter where you can plug 2 in together and fly it on 2S and go fly outside. Never break a prop, nothing. They're just fantastic.
My issue with FPV has always been I'm slightly claustrophobic.
Yeah.
And I put that stupid headset on and I just feel like it just messes.
Just sit down.
I just want the thing off my head.
Really?
I'm the guy. I go to a restaurant. I can't sit with my back to the door because I can actually feel the hair. Well, I don't have any hair left.
Well,
The
that's
hair
an
on the back of
that's
my
an
neck,
instinct of survival.
right?
The man always needs to be looking at the door to
Right.
an
And
entrance.
my hair stands up, and I feel the same way when I put on an FPV headset
Oh,
or something.
yeah.
I feel like I can't really see what's going on around me anymore.
Ah.
And it just, I don't know. I guess it could be something I could get used to, but I just haven't committed to it yet.
Gotta enjoy the flight. That's what you gotta enjoy. Once you have that flight and you understand that connection, then you'll be like, yeah, this is where it's at. It's fun, you know. But
I think I puke. I just puke.
I used to be able to do anything. Yeah.
Lights are flashing.
Yeah. I have to sit down now. I used to be able to stand up and fly, but I sit down for the most part now. Now that I've gotten older, got to sit down, but that's okay. So
I can't remember what it was I was watching. It might have been a TikTok or a YouTube short of a guy who was playing that Oculus, that headset from the gaming headset.
Right.
And Buddy is like whipping around, or his wife or whatever, and just completely nutted the guy that was coming through the room. Wow. That would be me. That would totally be me. I'd be like flying, because when I play a game like Mario Kart or something like that, I'm doing this with the controller.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like a retard. You put a set of goggles on top of me, I'm going to be even worse. So
oh man.
Yeah.
You got to try it and build that connection. And maybe it's a, maybe it's a box goggle thing, make it versus a regular type of frame. So, hey, Buck, I see him on the channel all the time.
Yeah.
The Glowforge, many different models too from.
So yeah. I've been looking at the Glowforge. Curtis, the guy that local here, he has a Glowforge, and we were trying to make some stuff. We made a couple of chassis plates for crawlers and stuff. Now I'm looking at that Stepcraft, because there's more stuff you can do with it, and it's a slightly bigger platform. Just, one more thing that I don't need. I've got 3D printers and other stuff that I never get to.
Yeah, I used to follow. I'm trying to remember where the guy from Stepcraft came from. I can't remember if he was on YouTube or if he was on a big podcast. I can't remember, but I used to really listen to him and follow him all the time, and then he disappeared because Stepcraft just blew up.
Yeah,
out of like it was I can't even remember if it was crowdfunded to start with. If it was like a Kickstarter.
Yeah, I think it was Kickstarter to start.
I believe so. Man,
them and the other one was Snapmaker was another one that I've been looking at too.
Yeah.
But the Stepcraft one is the only one that I looked at that actually looked like it was industrially, or for a hobby grade, it was even remotely close to being somewhat industrialish.
Yeah.
Like parts would be easy to find.
Yeah.
So, I mean, then we just start cranking out these carbon fiber chassis and all this fancy, make our own holes.
Yeah. No kidding. So it really takes, it's, I don't know. When it comes to the actual design of this stuff, it's going to be hard to I don't really know how you outdo what we have now. How do you make it better? It's really just a basic setup. And I think anybody's kind of went outside of the box and thought outside of the box, it's kind of not worked, we haven't seen a whole lot of it yet because it is young, but the platforms that we have right now, I think the biggest jump was obviously going from the combo buggy conversion kit to the actual full blown chassis.
Mm-hmm.
But that's got its disadvantages because they make mistakes too, people get stuff, they make runs, they test something out, they plug it into the Stepcraft and they think that it's going to do everything perfectly, but for some reason it didn't do those cuts right, or that didn't do those bevels right. And then you got 50 people screaming that their transmissions are locked up.
Have you done very much? Have you ever done any 3D printing or anything?
I've got a couple 3D printers. I've got I got a Prusa Mini now. That's just kind of like thing that will just print, anything, anytime I want it to. I've got my old monoprice that I used to print TPU with, and then I've got a resin printer as well. So
you've come home. Everybody who's done it through, and who has an FDM style printer has come home to the spaghetti pile at least once, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Not just you.
The only thing worse than that is coming home to your resin printer with a bunch of pile of goo about that thick stuck to your build plate. So then you got to clean that off. I was listening to your drag podcast and you were saying that you actually had just got one, and that was just recently, right? Was that like 2 months ago or 2 weeks ago?
Okay, so here's the Curtis guy that I'm talking about. He does actually, I guess this is a perfect time to talk about it, being that it's May the 4th. So it's kind of like a Star Wars thing, but he makes Star Wars helmets. He makes Vader helmets, but when we're talking, he doesn't do these. He designs them, makes them. He sells them to movie sets. He sells them to, we're talking $5,000 helmets.
Right.
He finishes them, and if you put it side by side with Vader's real helmet from the movie, you would think that Curtis's is the right one, is the actual real one, and the other one's a fake. That's how, he is super OCD about it.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we were going to do some scale stuff for 124 scale crawlers and such. So we started designing some stuff, and then I threw some money in, and I'm like, well, I don't know any of the designing stuff, but I can help back it up with equipment if you want. So at one point, our store was a Creality dealer. So we were selling Creality printers, so I've got 2 of those.
Right.
And then, so I gave those to him to run. And then we bought this Calant. It's a fairly large format resin printer. So now he's moving to Alberta. And so he's like, dude, I got to, clean out my shop and everything. So he brought it all back over here just a couple weeks ago now. Now I've got it all back in front of me, and I'm like, I don't remember how to turn these things on.
You got a lot of work cut out for you. Don't try to do them all at once.
I know, right?
The resin stuff is fun, man. That's what I started. It's actually how my YouTube channel started, was model building. If you go all the way back to 2004 or 3 or whatever, you'll see we were all building models together, and I became a pretty good model builder over the past 20 years. You can see all the paints and airbrushes and everything behind me. I still
everything
have it all. Yep. I still got it all set up, and I don't do as many as I should, if I, all right, there's some stuff back here. If I switch to my A-cam, you should be able to see the stuff back all the way back there. So a lot of different, enterprise, a lot of different, there's Bandai Enterprises and stuff like that I've built, regular Enterprises, and then I might as well just go get the Hulk. Who doesn't want to see him?
You got the Baby Yoda back there.
Oh, but when we got the resin stuff last year, I'll actually go up here because he'll focus a lot better.
Oh yeah.
Just the detail that you get out of those resin printers. And I got, all these files off of, oh gosh, I can't remember. It was one of the things that you pay for, and then just kind of
My Mini Factory or something.
It wasn't My Mini Factory. It was another one, and I can't remember what it's called.
But 3D is another one that they charge.
Yeah. A Galactic Armory.
Oh yeah.
Galactic Armory. So, those are fun. I've got some Mandalorian stuff over there and everything else, but then I just, you own a hobby shop. So, it's do I really want to print out that Mandalorian, or do I just want to buy that and build it?
Yeah.
So I bought that, and I still haven't built it yet. So I need to do more with that stuff.
Because you're busy drag racing.
I know, man. It occupies my brain. That's for sure.
You gotta pick out. You gotta pick which hobby you're doing at what time, right? Like,
Yeah. Well,
I do bikes too, right? So I got bikes. I got a Jeep. I got 3 kids. I got a hobby shop.
Yeah.
And if it's a gadget, I want one. If it's a new RC car and it's like, I mean, that stupid new low-C hammer they just released, the Hammer Ray.
The big one.
I kind of want one of those.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't need to have one of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, every single time they release something new, like the DR, the new associated DR10, I'm like, that looks kind of cool. I want one of those.
Well, I'm into telescopes too. So I do astrophotography. So that's at least I got something to do at night, all night long, and during the day. So rainy days, I can model, process data, do whatever. Techno's the Bubba Fett of RC. That is true.
Gordon wants to see baby Grogu.
I actually think I do have.
I see them back there.
Well, oh, there he is.
Oh, yeah, he spotted him. He saw him.
I saw him too.
Well, Grogu back there. So Grogu back there actually is just a piggy bank. But there is we'll turn this camera on just because it looks better. So here's Groot. So this is baby Groot right here. Whoops. Wrong one.
That's cool.
Infinity.
That's a cool effect. I want that.
So there's baby Groot.
Yeah.
So, and well, there's Grogu's head.
Oh yeah.
There it is.
Somewhere around here, I got a rat fink that we printed.
He never got finished. So I guess there he is with a body and head. So I don't know where his hands are. They're around there somewhere.
Samba, you're right. You're right. I'm feeling you. I'm totally feeling you on that.
Those were the girls' projects. Corrali is the Jar Jar Binks.
And I wouldn't be laughing so hard about it, except, dude, we still haven't taken the Kronos out because I haven't gotten it to go further than 10 feet yet. God,
Is that? Yeah. So that's another one. I've seen those going out to different, influencers and stuff like that. So you got those in your store?
I had those in the store.
What a shame.
The one that I actually like is the Corrali Sketter.
Yeah.
Sketter, whatever you want to say. It is, the thing's taking a beating right alongside my Traxxas Max, right?
Oh, has it?
Oh, yeah. But that's the only one. Of all the other ones,
okay.
They blow up right away.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. That's such a bummer.
Everything about it. I don't even have them on the wall or on the shelf anymore because I'm just so frustrated looking at the damn thing.
Yeah.
Python ripped around. I didn't even get through a battery pack, and the entire front end just went boom and blew up on one hard landing. That Kronos, Jesus, Aaron, I took it out once. It blew up the ESC within 30 seconds.
And I took it across the snow.
And then Aaron was taking it across the snow and break the steering.
Bam! Broke it.
And then I went to go take it out last time, and the freaking dog bones broke.
Oh, you broke it again?
Didn't even get fixed. Never even went.
I didn't even hear about the dog bone incident.
No, literally put it on the ground and went, what the hell? And then looked, and that dog bone split.
Man.
So I'm done with them. I'm not going to waste my time.
Can't even make a video with it, eh?
Shouldn't be so mean because I have a Corrali Radix 6 and it's been awesome. Well, you're lucky, man. You were so lucky. Yeah, I hear the Radix is a good one, and I know that the Scatter is a good one because I have that and I can vouch for it. But my other ones, no such luck, man. That's one of those ones. I brought it in as a line. I thought it was going to be a good thing, and no, we're just dropping that line and moving on to sticking with the bigger ones, low C, and
Yeah,
can't
that's
be
a
a hobby
shame.
shop without Traxxas, right? You
I
gotta have
mean,
Traxxas.
you can't. Yeah, I mean, they did it right. That was another thing that you guys were covering in your one show. Like, I can't believe that they've been around since 1994. Is that what
Yep.
you guys were saying? Like
Yep.
was it the Rustler was like
Yeah.
37 years old? God.
Yeah. And actually,
And changed.
here's the thing. I got to dig out my box, but I have the issue of RC Car Action that was the big release of the Rustler. I have that issue.
Front page, eh?
Oh yeah,
Right,
I have that
centerfold.
issue. I just don't know where the heck
ad.
the box.
And was everybody like, ha ha ha, these Americans, they can't build RC cars. We only buy Japanese stuff. Well, I guess Associated had been on, yeah, because Associated had been in the game. I mean, see, all I remember is just like Kyosho, Tamiya, and stuff like that in the hobby shops in the early 80s, like when I got my Grasshopper and Frog and stuff like that. Yeah. But then, that the Gold Pan RC10 came out, and I remember when one of my neighbors got one, and I wanted one of those things so bad. Like, it was so much better than like either any of my Tamiya kits.
I mean, MIP started out modifying them, two-wheel drives and stuff like that. I don't know if you ever seen, if you look way back in the image, you can find the old prototypes of them turning two-wheel drive RC10s into four-wheel drives with like a cable that came out of the side, went around and drove the front wheels.
Oh my gosh.
Like these old prototype things.
Barbaric.
So barbaric, right? And then chain drives like the Kyosho Optima and Ultima and all those ones with the chain drive and everything.
Yeah.
That was like top notch, top tier.
That was the same way with my NiCad batteries and my charger for the Tamiyas. Like, it had a dial. You turned the dial and it dinged when it was charged.
See that chain?
Oh wow. No, that's cool.
That's the chain drive. It is the same chain, not the same length, but same pitch and everything as the one off of the Optima, so you could actually swap it out.
Is that for two-wheel or is that for four-wheel?
This is four.
Okay.
Yeah. So this one, my dad brought this back. They went to Hong Kong. And they brought this thing back as a gift because they went to Hong Kong. It's better than those, my parents went to Hong Kong and all I got was a stupid t-shirt. I got an RC car. So
yeah, that's awesome.
We built this thing. Here's the real kicker though, because he bought it in Hong Kong. The instructions were not in English.
Oh yeah. You didn't have Google Translate then.
Yeah.
No, pictures. We built it all from pictures. We're like looking, he goes, okay, that one says do that, and the picture of the guy is smiling, so that must be the right way to do it. That guy with the frowny face, that must be the wrong way.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if I never I would have only been like 6 or 7 when I got my Grasshopper, and I wasn't that much older when I got the Frog, maybe a year or two later. So my grandmother actually is the one that would get them for me for Christmas. And she would always have the hobby shop build them. So I would assume that they were in Japanese back then too. Because even the ones, even the model stuff that we get now, by the Bandai stuff, it's all in Japanese. So,
the body on this thing, this is a Traxxas, I want to say Radicator.
Radicator.
It was one of the first Traxxas two-wheel drive platforms. I can't remember the name of it anymore. It's not the Bandit though. Before the Bandit.
Wow.
The body of that. And I cut it up because I was a kid and
yeah, that's what we do.
You gotta cut it up and modify it.
I did the same.
I launched that off my patio, my mom and dad's balcony, and it's still in one. Well, there's a few parts that are stressed.
It's fun doing that with stuff.
Right?
I mean, we see what we do with our bashers and stuff now.
Oh,
You
God.
know,
Oh yeah, like I got the sledge, and I that sledge is pretty impressive. I beat on it, and
yeah. I
it's doing
debate to
good.
buy a basher sometime and play, but it's just I don't know. I get so bored of them so fast.
If you wanted to buy a basher, I highly recommend a Max, not an X Max.
I had
I
an
wouldn't
X
recommend
Max
the sledge.
before. It's just too much. It's
Yep.
too big.
Yep. And when they
Takes
break,
up so
they break
much
big.
space.
There's so much waste for big things.
Yeah, the tires, were, geez, I don't know how much they are now. They got to be $100 a set, maybe 75 or 80 because of what the price increases.
Well, for us in Canada, if you bought the Power Hobby X Max wheels, the pre-mounted ones, they're like $108 a pair.
Yeah. Okay. So that's
right?
about 75, $80
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So
Line, what are the Traxxas sledge tires? I think they were 75. Like the sledgehammer tires they came out with for the X Max, I think they were $75 US a pair. So you're $150.
yeah. I look at the Max all the time, but then kind of like the question that somebody was asking about he was asking about the V2 conversion chassis. So I always get I think my hobby shop right now, Hobbytown USA, I think if the only ones that they have in stock are the Max, and Traxxas has instructed everybody to give them if you buy a Max to give you the actual conversion kit to make it the wide Max. But then you're only getting that. You're not getting the actual extra body length that the Max has.
Which, I have a Max. I have the original Max, and I've never put a wide Max kit on it. I like the way that thing runs. In the snow, I found that it ran better in the snow because it didn't have this big wide plow of A-arm that was trying to push snow. So I found that better. It wasn't as stable, but it's tough. I mean, this literally the truck that I give my kids, and I say they
so
want to
overbuilt.
Yeah, they just go run this.
Yeah,
and it comes back, and the body has been beat to hell.
Right, right.
It's filthy and dirty, and it looks like somebody tried to drive over it with a car, but it still runs and still works, and you can still go out and beat on it every single time.
Yeah.
I think it's
disappointed me. I've seen people just when that came out, I got excited about it, and I just watched people drive it, and it was always just roll city. And it was just man, that's a bummer. It looks like it's just so top heavy. All it does is just fall over all the time. And people are just using the automatic flip over, but then
the trigger control, right? You just got to have a little bit of trigger control.
Yeah.
Control. You can't just crank it and gas it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. But I love that X Max, but it was just man.
Way too big.
See, Gord, you said you didn't want me to bring this up again, but he tried to take off my head with a Max.
I tried driving the Max. Travis let me drive his, and it's actually quite fun.
Is it?
Probably the most fun one I actually drove for bashing.
So without even doing the wide conversion.
Yeah, it was fun. We went
stock form.
I found
ramps there.
Just from looking at doing repairs and having customers come in, I find that the wide Max kit, they run their longer arms, so you're putting more leverage on everything, right?
Yeah.
And that added amount of leverage does break more from what I've seen.
Right.
Yeah.
So, there's lots of guys that'll argue about it and say that's not true. I'm coming from a hobby shop aspect of it, so I know how many parts are going out.
Yeah.
And there's not as many of the Max arms go out as the wide Max arms go out.
Right. And then you still can't, I don't think, are they even shipping the Max V2 yet? Yep. I don't think anybody's I thought they were still sold out like crazy.
Well, we had, we just sold one here last week. We had one. Canadian distributor though, right? So Canada has their own distributor for Traxxas.
So
they get their own shipments that come at different times. So like when the Max V2 was released, it was actually available in the UK before anybody even North America even knew about it.
Right.
Like I talked to my distributor and he's like, "What? What do you mean there's a Max V2?" I said, "Well, I'm reading online about this new chassis. What do you guys know
a
about
Kevin
it?"
Talbot video.
Yeah, when can I order it? And they're like, I'll have to get back to you. So that's what ended up happening. You know, they got back, they're like, yeah, so we just found out about it. I'm like, wow, that was a botched launch if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, I didn't understand that at all because, like, again, it's like, man, besides the GoPro Bones, like, where else does stuff limited by country? You know, like that's limited to US only, which is a shame that because there's a lot of European and I know a lot of European FPV pilots that I follow that would love to have one of those. You know, they're actually like reaching out to people in the States and saying, okay, buy me one and send it to me. You know, like that's just ways around this stuff. That's what we have to do.
Yeah, so Samba says that the Max V2 has been readily available for ages in the UK, which is weird because everything Traxxas product is made in Taiwan, right? So why the UK has such a supply of it compared to North America is weird. But
well, it's going to be rough to get stuff there with ports closed and railroads going through Ukraine and Russia. We're all pretty much like cut off right now from China. So that was another thing that one of the FPV guys was talking about that I didn't even think about. He was like, you know, they were actually using that as a back route to get stuff out of China. And now
it's all got to go by ship.
Now they can't send trains through Ukraine, you know? So it's like that's worse than the 20-day quarantine for the electronic part.
And then here's the funny thing. Speaking of drag cars, the Traxxas Drag Slash. When they released that Drag Slash, I found out about it from our distributor. He hinted to it that Traxxas had something new coming, and it was in, I want to say February last year. This is February, something like that. And I said, okay, I'll take at least 2 of every color that's going to come out. Generally expecting Traxxas to put out like maybe 2 colors.
Right.
Not a huge store, so I didn't want to have and then it turns out they're putting out 6 different colors.
Yeah.
And I've ordered 2 of every color, so that's fine. I didn't see any of them until September. Or no, October. The drag racing season here was done.
Yeah.
When the trucks finally showed up on my shelf.
Coming up for the very last one. Very last one we had scheduled. That was it.
Yeah. I'm like, wow, you guys sure screwed up that shipment. Like,
oh
wait
man,
till the snow's flying before you actually deliver. Brutal. Absolutely brutal.
Yeah. That happens. And you really start thinking about that stuff, at least I do, around late August, early September. I remember making some of those decisions around that time last year, like, should I order this or should I do that? Because by the time it gets here, that means that I only have a couple weeks to work it into my program after I get done testing, so.
Well, that was the thing with Sledge. I lucked out with the Sledge being able to get one of the first delivery models to the store. So Traxxas has a program, they deliver one to the store. They're not allowed to sell it.
Right.
They can use it as a demo and do whatever they want with it.
Yeah.
They're just not allowed to sell it. Well, okay. So I used it as a demo and I did what I wanted with it because you technically pay for it still.
Right.
So I was like, okay, well, I'll use this and I'll get some YouTube videos out of it and do something with it because then I can actually benefit from it. But I don't get that at any other brands. No other brand dumps anything out. Like, Losi released their new drag truck. I heard about it online and, whoa, yay, cool. Guess it'll be a couple months before I see one of those.
It's just makes no sense. Again, it's just a missed opportunity, just to put something on a shelf and a couple announcements on Facebook. And that's the thing that's so funny is that I have a lot of people comment, I'd say I've had 30 to 40 unique commenters that want to get ahead or a hold of certain people that only do business on Facebook.
Only do business.
They don't.
They
don't have web shops.
Yep.
So they need email addresses. So there's people that aren't on Facebook to see these announcements. And the only way they're even going to see these products is if they go into a brick and mortar store.
Yep.
So, because they're not looking at it on Facebook, and none of these manufacturers, they just do a shitty job on their YouTube channel. Like Traxxas, like why wouldn't they put like one video out of the drag slash? Like here we are with the Associated. I haven't seen anything with the DR10. I mean, besides John Schultz putting some stuff out there. Where's the sizzle reels for your cars?
Yeah.
The crawling people do a good job of it.
They released it. They released it, and I really, really expected to see somebody like you or any of the people who seem to be more drag racing oriented.
Right.
How come none of them have got video of some test hits with this new car?
Yeah.
Nobody. Losi, same thing. Nobody had videos of the test hits.
Yeah.
Horizon's better when it comes to videos on releases because they do usually have their own video out and they'll have it with the release. It might not be a super spectacular video, but they'll have a video. But yeah, you're right. Traxxas, Associated, Arma is better now that they've got they're owned by Horizon. A lot of these companies that are coming out with stuff, it's like, okay, yeah, and then you got to wait for some guy a YouTube channel to do a review on it, and then you want that product crushed. I guess the biggest example for me was the Rift, the Axial Rift platform.
Yeah,
that was horrible for you.
And so I ordered a bunch of them because they're cool, and they're gone now. But I ordered these things. I ordered these things, and then they gave one to John Holmes. John Holmes breaks it in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Jumped it off of a stump.
Yeah.
So he broke links. And he said, I think that they should have come up with like this. I literally had people walk into the store saying, I don't want it now because he said that it's got plastic links, and I think that's stupid. What? So because that dude on YouTube said that, like, truly influenced their sale.
Yeah.
I'm stuck with this truck now that you've changed your mind on.
Yeah.
So
and no matter what, and he's like the guy, he's the crawler guy, right? So it's like, does he have an opinion? Which the Rift is more of a rock bouncer, right?
Yeah.
So
absolutely rock bouncer. Yeah.
So why would you send that vehicle to John Holmes, who is a crawler?
Yeah, and
that's what he does. He builds the best crawler stuff you can get.
Do you see anybody sending stuff to Talbot?
I don't know if they do. Well, Banggood and the Chinese people do for sure.
Well, I mean, I think
definitely
that Mammoth. The biggest mistake they ever made was sending him that Mammoth stealth car that he literally, like, what did it last 30 seconds before the wheels blew apart and everything? He didn't get it across the parking lot.
Yeah.
That actually was not his fault.
Right.
That was. But of all the people that you don't want that to happen on that channel, it would be his channel. You probably don't want him to be breaking it before he even tried doing it.
Yeah. It's pretty cool though. I go back and forth watching some of his stuff. I saw him he's been getting into like indoor carpet racing.
Yeah. With
big time.
Like he's dealing with Tamiya's.
Yeah. And he was, and then he built a B6, and now he's like hook, line, and sinker. He's like, I think he's actually having a dilemma. Like, damn, I really like I could kind of see it in his face. Like, I really like doing this, but I know it's not going to make me as much money as out breaking stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you can see that
It won't
dilemma
make
in
me the
people's
sending. I
face.
can't send this to the moon and make anybody happy by doing
Yeah, yeah, because I'm sure his commission on, well, it depends on where his links are through, and which I've heard that, you know, a lot of that stuff is really diminished anyway, too, like the affiliate commission that those guys make and stuff, you know, and he has spot. I think he has a sponsored video every once in a while, I believe so.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's not hurting for money when he makes good money. But like your average person that depended, you know, maybe someone a couple notches down, you know, in that you know, like maybe Harley or Scale Builders Guild, you know, those guys that are on that 50 to 100K kind of range, you know, and I don't even know if they use affiliate links. I would only assume they do. You know, half the money that comes from online would come from affiliate links. And I've heard a lot of that commission has been cut because the Chinese people were paying that stuff and now they can't get the products to send that kind of stuff out.
Yep.
And they would buy the American stuff, you know, Banggood or AliExpress or whoever would buy the Traxxas stuff. But now they can't get it back and forth.
Yep.
So, you know, you can't get it from the USA warehouse anymore.
Yep.
So,
and yeah, like a lot of that affiliate stuff, I noticed a whole bunch of them are not doing affiliate links. When you do look at them, none of it's even based on any of the stuff they talked about.
yeah.
You know, it's like, this is the camera gear I used. This is the website I got my music from. This is whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's like,
yeah, it's kind of standard YouTube stuff. Like on my channel, I have that stuff because believe it or not, people will ask. Like, and I mean, at one point, like I wanted to figure it out. Like, what do I do to set up, you know, this A camera right here on an arm to make it wherever I want it to go? You know, like what Manfrotto arm is this? What clip is this? What grip is this? And what mount is this? You know, so it's something that I searched for and I thought that it would be important to people. So I put that on there.
Added on the link and somebody.
Yep. And then it just says my gear. And then I have like a list of like useful stuff. But if I do something that, you know, focuses, like, let's say if I did a video that focused on a body, I usually will tell them where to get it at, even though I don't have any affiliate links for any of that stuff. Just Amazon stuff, you know, which I get a super small amount from Amazon. Sometimes I get $5, sometimes it's $40 or $50. It just depends on if somebody forgets to click or someone actually clicks. It's there. It's cheap and it's free for them to help me out if they want to. I mean, pretty much everything I get from Amazon really does either go back into here or goes into cat litter.
Yeah.
So that's all I get, you know. I'd rather have it delivered than have to carry it in.
So. Gerd, if you want a 12S system for your Max, which there's no freaking way it's going to fit in there, but your 12S system would be the new Max 4. Check out the Hobby Wing Max 4 they just released yesterday. That's 12S capable, but I think it's about half the size of the car. So that's going to be a big, beefy guy.
Wow, that is insane.
And he just wants to launch his truck at my head again.
Yeah.
That's the problem is that you go ahead and overpower it, but you're not going to be able to put power down.
No, the ADAS systems in pretty much any of these Traxxas ones are having a hard time keeping tires together.
Yeah.
Or anything else. So.
Yeah, my X-Max tires just shredded. Like, I mean, I just kept glue, but like some Bob Smith tire glue, and they never shredded it.
Industries.
Yep. Never tore at that spot again. It would always just rip at another spot. Right, so eventually you have like a tire that's just glued everywhere. But it's invincible. Might as well just coat them in glue as soon as you get them. Then you don't have to worry about anything.
Dip it. Just get a vat, dip it, pull it back out. You're good. Shake it
That's
off.
what my body looks like outside right now. Like, God, I'm so mad I messed that thing up. Oh,
that's Basher tire prep for you right there.
Man.
So, hey, let's see the body.
It's in the garage. I'm still going to run it tomorrow. You'll see it in an upcoming video. Like I said, I'm ordering. I already ordered another one. I just hate it because, that was
You wanted that one to be perfect.
Yeah. I mean, that's a $75 mistake. I mean, I had to order. Well, it's a $150 mistake. I had to order it twice,
What's your feeling? Your bodies that you're liking. So your favorite brand of body right now is?
The one I haven't ran yet, the Mach 22. I've seen everybody running it, and I see how stable and how well it performs, and just have it in my hand. Like, I just know it's a winner because it's so much more rigid. I had high hopes for that GTR, but it's so flimsy and floppy, way more than the Corvette C7 Pro Mod body is, way more. So
what is your take on the Biddy design?
I always wanted the Biddy. That was the product that was supposed to get here with like a month to go in the season, and it never did. So I haven't actually, so I canceled my pre-order back on the Biddy back last October, November, because they didn't get here in time before the end of the season. So I've never actually seen it or felt it. I hate to say that I have to follow the game, follow everybody else, but if I don't see it winning, then it is just what it is. Not saying I think C7 still won the biggest events this year so far. I don't think any other body has won anything. So, but I'd be anxious to see when a lot more people get this kind of body in their hand. So I like those new shark bodies. I've seen those, the boxy type of style is just more stable. The stuff just doesn't flop around as much, it just doesn't. And when you look at the profile on the Mach 22 is just like, and I've seen people do it up just like Jeff Lutz's GTO, like with the yellow.
Yeah.
And I mean, why not? Like, there's your scale car right there. So
it's one of the things that drew me into the drag racing was you could actually pick out these different bodies and make a car look cool and kind of build up your hot rod that you wanted.
Yeah.
And that at the beginning was cool. And then it turned into
Corvette City.
Now you got to have this body if you want to be fast. And it's the exact same way. You probably haven't heard the episode where I was talking with Aaron about this, but when it comes to touring cars, for on-road touring cars,
right?
Ugly one wins.
Friggin' things are ugly as sin. I don't want to put that ugly ass body on my car because it looks like hell. I don't like it. It's
right.
It doesn't look anything like a real car.
I don't know if you know what you're talking about. But...
It's just hideous.
that one. Hideous one right here.
That one.
This one.
That is the most hideous roof line I've seen on anything in my life.
And that's like the one to have, huh?
This is the one to have.
Yeah.
And there's other brands that make them, and they all follow the same styling. So that's way forward, and that's to make the arrow go back down the window and have the rear diffuser or rear spoiler do its job. So all that space in there, keep the air attached and back down.
Now when I look at it, I think to myself, that's where touring cars went right there. That's the direction they went into because it was all about being the fastest guy on the track. And I look at drag racing and I go, man, is that what's going to happen with drag racing? We're going to end up with this Cybertruck looking body that just looks gross all the time.
But is it aerodynamic?
Yeah. Right? Until we get a spec class, probably, if it ever comes. But again, that'll have to be more of a local thing because nobody nationally is ever going to push it.
I think what a thing to do with that
bracket
whole
class
thing is to get the time bracket. You got a 2-2 bracket. Everybody's got the same time bracket. You got 2-2, go faster than a 2-2, or whatever it is, 3-2, 4-2, whatever you want to set it at. That's the time bracket, and that's what you build your car for.
Yeah. That's another way of doing it.
And that's what we're going to do this year. We're going to try it out. And you can bring whatever you want, kind of thing.
Midwest says it looks backwards. It does look backwards. You're right. Absolutely looks like it's running backwards all the time.
But that's what we're going to try this year. We're going to try to do, I think our time bracket, we're going to be probably 3-3. That way, if you have the stock.
Oh, that's so generous of you. So I can compete. Thanks, man. That's
so
awesome.
You can compete. But so we had the stock Traxxas truck out there, and it was doing a 3-3. Nothing to write home about, but
I think he did 1-3-1.
Oh,
when he changed up opinion, I think he did when he. I don't know, Tim, you're on here. What didn't you do a 3-1? I think you did a 3-1. I
think that's about the same time that Dan was doing in his stock DR10.
The stock DR10.
Yeah.
Oh.
The most important thing is just to enjoy it and have fun. Like the past couple of weeks, everybody was kind of, grumpy, trying to get their cars going. I know I was disappointed because I was expecting a lot more right out of the gate, even though I don't know why, because like everything on the car had changed except for the car, like why is this not working? Well, you did exactly what you said you weren't going to do. You got new tires, different body, different battery, changed the motor, exactly. So different prep, just trying to learn everything. And then you're dealing with weather, it rained an hour ago and you're out here trying to drive on this road and it's 50 degrees out. But like, you just want to do it. Like I was telling them, it's like, I've been in this basement for freaking 4 months talking to this camera. Like I want to be outside, man. Like,
like
3-3-1 nighttime. So 3-3-1-4.
He got it right there. I know exactly what it was. Yeah. No, Gordon, I'm not going to be showing any of those extra pictures because we're already at, holy crap, we're at 2:40 already.
Yeah.
Yeah, out and away here. And we're going to probably wrap her up here pretty quick. Yeah. You're in Ohio, so what time is it for you? Like midnight?
I got to get up in 6 hours.
Oh God. All right. Okay. So we're
let's wrap it up.
6 hours, work, mow grass, and then go into the test spot because it's supposed to rain Friday, Saturday. So we're going to go out and hopefully do I might even just say, forget the grass, and I can't do that. I got to have the best lawn on the block, man. I'm going crazy about my lawn. So out in the country.
Normally on Bench Talks, we do the new and RC. Me and Aaron will do that a little later. We'll do it maybe on we'll just stream it separate. Okay. So that we can get rolling here. Thanks for coming on.
Dude, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
been a pleasure, guys.
Glad you came on.
Dude, been a pleasure. Make sure that I let everybody on the channel know. It was a late post to the community post. So I saw some people and I've seen some people jump in, but not as many I definitely would like to have hoped to seen. So I'll make sure that everybody knows about your guys' channel and stuff. And, love to rap with you guys again. So
yeah, anytime.
Been a good time.
If you're wanting to, and if you want us to bring her on a little earlier for you, we can work that out for you too.
Yeah, whatever. We go a little shorter. That's fine. I hate to put you guys in a time crunch too, because you got, like I said, you got lives too. So
generally
don't work your schedule around me.
We try to keep around 2 hours ish.
Right.
Actually, we just had a lot to talk about tonight, so we kept on going. I didn't even look at the clock until literally just now.
Yeah, but I mean, we covered a lot. FPV, 3D, everything. So which is great because like to just be hamstringed into one corner of a hobby is rough. Like you can't drive one type of car, you can't fly one type of plane, like it's just you just can't do it.
Samba, it's got to be 3 a.m. for you now?
Jeez, I thought it was 3 a.m. when we started. He's been up like all night.
What he said, it was like 1:18 when we started.
1:33 when we first started.
Oh my God!
3 or 4 in the morning. He's a trooper. He shows up on everyone. He shows up on the bench wrenching ones too.
Wow! Wow!
Yeah, we'll
fan
be
of the
bench
night.
Wrenching Friday. I don't know what I'm going to work on yet, but I don't think it'll be a drag car. It'll probably be my broken bouncer.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to break the bouncer tomorrow.
Nice. Well, all notifications are on, so I'll be getting all your guys' alerts and stuff like that. And thank
Sweet.
goodness, because I need some new content. And I'm sorry, I don't know why I didn't get back to you earlier about
whatever. We end the broadcast here. Stay on for a minute, and I'll get you my info so you can just FaceTime me or whatever.
Perfect. Yeah, that's the best way to. Yeah, there we go. Yep, there's a way to do that, right? Awesome.
All right, so you guys, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Tune in to Chad's channel. At the end of this video, I'm going to be slapping on an end screen. I'll post up a link for his channel, so you can go to it to subscribe. That word, And yeah, catch you later, man. Go drag race something. Make something go fast for a short period of time.
Yeah.
Go fast as you
Later.
can, and then hit the brakes.
And then hit the brakes.